Good evening and welcome to the July 7th, 2026 board meeting. If we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. If my head of Recreation Commission, Matt Talbert, could lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, and if we could have a moment of silence. I know we've had it before for her, but yesterday would have been Sheridan Gorman's 19th birthday. So if we could remember her, pray for her, and also give the courage to her parents for the fight that they've been holding to make sure that this never happens again. Thank you. We'll start with introductions to my right.
Good evening, Diana Quast, Town Clerk.
Good evening, Patrick Murphy, Town Councilman.
Supervisor Ed Lachman.
Deputy Supervisor Sergio Esposito.
Councilwoman Susan Siegel.
Elon Gilbert, Councilman.
Okay, going to keep my report to the town a little brief today. First, congratulate the Lions on a great first concert on June 28th with Showtime Dance Band, a Motown band. They had a fantastic showing, and what a great band. Next one coming up is this Sunday, the 12th, and it's Danny V's 52nd Street, which is Billy Joel cover band, and they are amazing as well. We have more of our USA 250 events coming up. The next one will be actually held at Lake Day, and that is What Do You Know About Rochambeau? And that is July 11th, 2026 at 12 noon, and that will be occurring at the Mohegan Highlands Beach at 3365 Mohegan Avenue in Mohegan Lake. Then after that, towards the end of the month, we are co-hosting a online lecture, Meet Benjamin Franklin, or as I used to call him back in school, Benny. He's actually one of my favorite founding fathers. So that is on July 27th, 7 to 8 p.m. It's on a Monday at the library, and it is a virtual event, but from the lecturer, but a great program. And then just a quick storm update. About 6.5 inches of rain fell after the typhoons on Saturday. We started with about 1,800, actually a little more than 1,800 out of power. They kept getting the power on and finding more problems, but by Monday afternoon, they had everything pretty much up and running just in time for some trees to come down and knock down some other things. But all of the secondary damage, for the most part, was done on the Con Edison side of town, where the first one was primarily NYSEG. And as of earlier today, I believe it was 3 homes or 4 homes down on the Con Ed side. Everything is back up on NYSEG, and I believe the ones, after talking with our governmental representatives, the solo houses that are down are trees taking out their particular wires, and they're working on getting them back. So I will say thank you to our police department, our highway department. We had our first responders were taxed quite a bit.
Yeah, dry ice.
Yep. Oh, we had our dry ice. Thank you, Sergio and Dave, for getting that, which was just amazing to get that for the people that needed it. We have.
Don't take it off your
No, I don't need that. I need this, which I didn't know. I wanted to thank a couple of residents also, because we had a tree fall in the middle of Hanover that blocked it. Actually, it was a few trees that came down, and there was some gentlemen who live right there, Brandon, Nectali, and Ronnie, and they basically went home, grabbed some chainsaws, cut up the trees, and got a lane open on Hanover. Just great to see that community spirit. And Con Ed and NYSEG did fantastic work, they were very responsive. I was on the phone with them around the clock. And a big shout out to our new chief of police, Justin Foley. Was in constant communication with him the night of that Saturday night into Sunday morning. I was at PD. We were liaisoning with Sergeant Curtin, Chief Foley, Captain Rapisarda. We were all in constant communication, and it really helped to make things happen, because I think that Con Edison and NYSEG realized, hey, they're prepared and they're ready to go. And Dave was getting his crews out to cut up the trees. So once again, great work. And that's it for me.
All right.
We'll go down to Lonnie.
I'll keep my remarks brief as well. Again, a shout out to our highway department for these storms. It used to be a rarity, a couple of times a year. Now it seems like every season we're facing new types of weather events, and I just give total credit to our crews in terms of their action and helping us make it through. And again, actually, to piggyback on that, I also welcome Chief Foley to his first week in service, baptized by fire or lightning, so to speak. And but I'm convinced, and I know I've known the Foley family for many years. I think he's going to be a terrific asset to the town. And again, thank you to Chief Noble for setting up the town in such a way that we're be able to move forward without missing a beat. And not many towns can claim that privilege. So thank everyone all, and that's it. Like I said, I was going to be brief.
Susan?
Thank you. I just want to announce that the town now has 5 affordable units for seniors that are available now. The planning board legalized a subdivision down on Baldwin Road, York Farms. It goes back to the 1994. There were just some problems with effectuating some resolution that required 10 affordable units. There will be 5 for Section 8 and 5 for seniors. And so I want to let that people know. The Community Housing Board is in the process of creating a waiting list for people who are interested in rental housing. They already have one for sale housing, and they have used that in the past. But until we have our own waiting list for rental housing, I'm urging anyone who's interested, any seniors, to call Westchester Management, the owners of York Farms. They are very experienced in rental housing. They have an existing waiting list. So you can call them at 914-686-9500, and just tell whoever picks up the phone that you want to be connected to the department that maintains the waiting list. They can add your name, and they'll talk you through all the requirements. These have to be income eligible for the apartments. Again, 5 senior units. And honestly, I'm not sure how senior is defined, 55, 62, 65. Let them work it out. I also have some questions, and I think the community needs some updates on several issues. I was going to put this at the end of the agenda on something new that we've had in the last few meetings, old and new business, but I don't see that on the agenda. So let me just kind of go through these items, and hopefully we can deal with them even after we get through the resolutions. Could we have an update on what's happening with the 485B Tax Incentive Committee now that all the members have been appointed? Have they started to meet, and when will those meetings be publicized, because they should be open to the public? I also want to update the people that many weeks ago I talked about a Westchester County program that offered to replace aging septic systems only in the Halleck's Mill sewer district, in the Halleck's Mill area, not in the Peekskill system. They will do it for free. They will upgrade or replace your system, or if you're within 100 feet of an existing sewer line, the only upfront cost is like $580 for dealing with title searches. I have shared this information with the community, but I've also suggested to the town that we send letters out to the homeowners who are eligible for this to let them know so they can take advantage of it. The county has a certain pot of money from the state. It will run out when it runs out, and obviously there are hundreds of other communities within the, not hundreds of communities, but hundreds of other residents, thousands, who are eligible for this funds, so we shouldn't lose out, because many of these on aging, failing septic systems in the Halleck's Mill District, unfortunately, are not going to get sewers. So I hope that I've shared a draft with you, and I hope that we can get this going.
I thought we put it out on the website already.
No, to send an actual letter out to people, because there are people, even though it's been on the town
We-
website,
Someone was researching I think Gary's researching the exact addresses.
I think
Make sure.
engineering has the addresses
Okay.
so that we can just send a letter out. I estimate there are about 500 people
I'll check with Dan on
that
that.
do that, so I'd like.
What else, Susan?
Okay, also, I'd like an update on the status of the RFP for the EMS for the ambulance districts. The board voted.
Did you get my copy?
No.
I asked Adam to look it over and send it out.
I haven't seen anything.
I'll take care of it
because the
right now.
board voted to advertise it, but said it would not advertise it until the board
yep.
reviewed it. So I'm waiting for that. Also, another update, on May 12th on the agenda, there was to be a discussion about updating our very old sign law. And at the time, the feeling of the other board members was, instead of just looking at one section, I was proposing we look at the temporary opinion provisions. The board said, both Ed, Sergio, Pat, Lanny, all said, we need to look at the entire law.
I actually have a draft there too that I asked Steve Frietta to look over. So, because he has experience with other towns, so I'll share that with you as
So
well.
I'm looking to see what's happening on that.
Mhm.
Also, an update on what's happening with the Halleck's Mill Sewer Extension, because one of the hangups there was, would DEC allow us to go through the Gomer wetlands? Apparently, Dan met and got some warm and fuzzy okay from DEC. So I think those homeowners are desperately waiting for an update, on that. And also, there were two other new issues that I wanted to bring up. Somebody at a previous meeting talked about the problems with the hearing assistance for hard of hearing, that the equipment wasn't working.
Maura Gregory.
Maura did. But I've also heard and requested people who are watching this program at home, they need the closed captioning. And so I think this is something that we need to explore. I don't know how we go about it, but this would be a tremendous asset for there are only a handful of people who come to these meetings, but I'm sure there are dozens and dozens and dozens who are watching it at home and would like that.
Most TVs have the ability to
Closed
to do
caption right
closed
off.
captioning
But-
on the television.
But how do we get from our,
You just put it on your television and
I don't know.
How
if-
about, guys, why don't we
We're
let
at
Diana
work.
We're already
answer?
in the process of changing over our video equipment to be able to do that because it's the law.
Okay.
So you'll be seeing a change to that already. So when you play it back, you'll actually see that.
Great, thank you. That would be, because I've had requests. The other thing is e-bikes. There are more and more complaints about e-bikes. And many people will remember that in 2023, after that horrendous accident at Hunter Brook Field, when somebody got hurt with an ATV, there were discussions about revising the law. And at the time, the town went through, I think, about 4 drafts of the law. Initially, they were combining e-bikes and ATVs. At the time, former supervisor Tom Diana was very concerned about the e-bikes. But because e-bikes and ATVs are like apples and oranges, eventually they just dealt with the ATVs. So we don't have any e-bike regulations. And I think it's becoming more and more of a problem. This is the safety problem. And I don't think our regulations deal with it. So I'd like to recommend to the board that we kind of look at what needs to be done. Those are my. So
And,
get a
and, and I've,
combination
and
of both.
actually, it's been on my mind a while. I've spoken with Officer Uhl, who's one of our traffic safety officers now. He's been doing the research on it. There are New York State laws. It's kind of interesting because I think it falls under vehicular laws, which,
They define that there are 3 classes of e-bikes.
right.
But I think, I could be wrong, but when I looked at our town law, I don't know if it's clear that you are prohibited from riding an e-bike on a sidewalk. I don't think there's anything in our law that says you
Shouldn't be
can't,
even riding a bicycle on it.
anything.
All right, well,
But it's one thing to educate them, but another thing to have a law that says you just can't do it, and you're subject to a fine and that. So I think we have to look at, not just education, but what we put in the law, just where we say, these are allowed, all right, and, but they're not allowed on certain, on sidewalks, other public property, however it is.
Yeah, it's, when we went over this and we had all our drafts, it was a very tricky process, because you want to balance the utility of it with the safety aspect for it. And I think that's where you had a huge difference of opinions, you know, and e-bikes also are great for people that are, you know, have challenges, health challenges, physical challenges. So, but I will tell you, you know, flying down the street at 35 miles an hour is just not safe.
And we apparently, if, you know, I could stand corrected, but if the way I read the law, I don't see any prohibition against sidewalks. Common sense says you should not, but if it's not in the law, so you can't fine somebody for doing that. And so I think that's what we really have to look at. Again, it's a safety issue. I think e-bikes are great for people, all right? So I'm not banning them, but we have to.
And the finding aspect gets a little tricky, because you know, if it's a kid that's 14 years old or 12 years old, you can't find a 12-year-old. So you have to write into the law, bake into the law, you know, some kind of onus for the parents.
Well, I think
it's complex.
I
It's
think the
complex.
state regulation is 16 and a half to utilize an e-bike, so.
Yeah, there are
Is it,
regulations
but I think
already.
it's a certain class of e-bike,
Right.
and that's where you keep running into issues.
Yeah.
And I think when we did the ATV law, the board did include legislation that when it's done by under 16, that the parents are responsible. So we have dealt with
Yeah.
that whole issue.
All right,
And I will
let's
tell you
get
that-
back on track for the meeting
One-
after
one-
this
just
comment.
one more
Yep.
comment. I will tell you that our wonderful police department now has a bicycle unit,
Yes.
and part of their tasks is to you know, counteract these kind of things, because it's kind of hard to get somebody on an e-bike when you're in a car, right, and you're in a police car. So we do have a bicycle unit now.
But
Yeah. So hopefully that'll help as well. I'm sorry to get, go ahead.
No,
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
was it for you, right, Susan? That was your
yeah,
last item?
again, these were
I'll go
issues I would have done at the end of the meeting, but it's not on the agenda, so I'm bringing them up
Patrick?
now.
Sure. Well, I hope everybody survived the heat wave and enjoyed their 4th of July. You know, spent 4th of July over at Jefferson Village, and they loved it over there. It was great. The Macy's fireworks for 4th of July was outstanding, I thought.
They normally are.
And I just want to wish Chief Noble good luck on his retirement. And like Lanny said, Justin, Chief
Chief
Foley came in and he hit the ground running. It was seamless. It was great. And I saw the pictures of like the little war room you could set up at the police station for the storm. It was great. So, and then at the library, they're going to start movie nights on the 9th, 16th, and 23rd of July. So always go to the library, the website, yorktownlibrary.org, and see what is available. They have everything from kids through seniors. So, and big shout out to Dave and his crew. They did a great job through the storm. They did a really good job. And last but not least, I'll make it short because we have a public hearing later on. And Ken, I don't know if you're coming or not, but Lake Day is this Saturday, okay, from 9:30 in the morning right through to p.m. I'm sure you'll be talking about it courtesy of the floor. So, but I just want to let everybody know the Lake Day. All right, that's this Saturday. All right, Serge, you're up.
Yeah. So I got some words that I wrote down, and everybody did a great job during the storm, but I just want to get to what I wrote down, and I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. Sheridan Gorman, Shera, she would have been 19 years old. It's my son's age. As a town, we continue to mourn the devastating loss of a beautiful young woman whose life was only just beginning. I cannot help but think about Tom and Jess and Madeline waking up yesterday morning to an empty bedroom instead of their daughter. No parent should ever have to experience that kind of heartbreak. It's unimaginable. Sheridan was not out looking for trouble. She was not out partying, drinking, or making reckless choices. She was simply a young woman who wanted to experience something extraordinary with her friends by seeing the Northern Lights. She was a one-of-a-kind soul, a beloved daughter of Yorktown, and she should still be here today. My heart breaks for Tom, Jess, and Madeline. Our community grieves with you, prays with you, and will continue to stand beside you. Sheridan's death also forces us to confront difficult questions about public safety and our criminal justice system. We owe it to her memory, to every family, to ask whether our laws are doing enough to protect innocent. I'm sorry, I just couldn't say. Ask our laws are doing enough to protect innocent, law-abiding citizens. We need a system that is fair, but we also need one that prioritizes public safety, holds dangerous offenders accountable, and prevents our courts from becoming a revolving door. I believe society has failed the Gormans, and so have politicians whose cashless bail legislation has put public safety at risk. In Chicago, they call it the Pretrial Fairness Act. But I ask, how is that fair to the Gorman family? This so-called Pretrial Fairness Act is part of a broader bill known as the Safety Act. You can call it what you will. But there is nothing fair or safe about the reality the Gormans now face every single day. As a deputy sheriff, I see firsthand the challenges faced by law enforcement every day. I believe the pendulum has swung too far away from protecting victims and the communities we serve. Police officers should have the tools and legal authority to do their jobs fairly, professionally, and effectively, while respecting the rights of everyone involved. Every parent, regardless of where they live or how much money they have, shares the same fear the moment their child walks out the front door. They deserve to know that every reasonable measure is being taken to keep their children safe. Law-abiding families deserve that peace of mind. Sheridan deserved the chance to celebrate her 19th birthday. She deserved the opportunity to chase her dreams, build a career, raise a family, and live the life that was taken from her far too soon. May we honor her memory, not only with our prayers, with the resolve to build safer communities and laws that better protect innocent people. To Tom, Jess, and Madeline, there are no words that can ease your pain. Please know that an entire community mourns with you, stands beside you, and will never forget Sheridan. God bless you all. Happy birthday, Sheridan.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Sergio. Yeah, I was speaking with both Tom and Jess yesterday, and it's you hit the nail on the head, and hopefully we don't have to deal with this again, because it's a very, very tragic thing. I know that our poet laureate had passed, but his wife actually sent in a poem today. Sergio, would you take that for her?
Yeah.
And thank you, Barbara, for sending this.
Lucky, Not Proud by John F. McMullen. I'm not proud to be an American. Being an American is not an accomplishment of mine. I didn't fight for its independence. I didn't even choose to come here. My grandparents did, and I will be forever grateful to them for their courage in coming here. I am very lucky to have been born an American. I could have starved to death in Biafra, been butchered in Cambodia, gassed in Auschwitz, sent to a gulag in Russia, bombed in Hiroshima, slaughtered in the Congo, downed in Indonesia, blown up in Jerusalem, or enslaved in the Sudan. Instead, I was born in the United States of America and get to sit here and muse. I am truly lucky, as are my co-citizens. Shouldn't we do whatever we can to ensure that we don't have to be lucky not to be starved, butchered, bombed, slaughtered, drowned, blown up, or enslaved? Or is it sufficient just to be jingoistic and be proud of something we neither earned nor even deserved? He wrote this in 2018, by the way. John F. McMullen, rest in peace.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right, we have a proclamation today commemorating the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Whereas the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence and the formation of the United States of America is being celebrated this year, and whereas July 4th, 2026 marks the 250th anniversary of this defining moment in our nation's history, providing an opportunity to reflect upon the ideals that shaped the founding of the United States and continue to guide our democracy today. And whereas the 250th anniversary is being recognized as the national and state levels, with communities across the nation encouraged to honor the sacrifices, achievements, and civic spirit of those who have contributed to the American story over the past 250 years. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Edward Lachterman, along with the town board of the town of Yorktown, hereby recognize July 4th, 2026, and the year 2026 as a time to commemorate the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, and that the town of, excuse me, thank you, Yorktown will commemorate this milestone through civic engagement, educational, and community-oriented events throughout the year to reaffirm our commitment to the ideals upon which the United States of America was founded, as well as continue to work together to build a brighter future for all. All right, and just to recap, because I'm very proud of some of the events that we've had already. The new Revolutionary War Memorial, the Daughters of the American Revolutionary Memorial, and on that same day we had the reenactment of the Battle of Pines Bridge. Just an amazing job by the Historical Society on that. A couple weeks after that, we had the Rochambeau weekend, which was the best attended to date. Thank you, Lynn Briggs, for all the work you and your committee put in on that, because it was great, and it's been, every year it's been educational. We've had a couple events at the library. We had the singers at the church, and a couple more coming up that I mentioned today, including one at Lake Day, right, Ken? That's the 11th. Saturday the 11th is Lake Day. Ken likes his plugs, so. But some really great things. So thank you for everyone who's participated, and please keep looking out for these wonderful events and participate, learn, be a part of our history. All right, for personnel, appoint John Foley to the position of laborer in the sewer department. Appoint Robin Steinberg to the permanent position of director of planning in the planning department. Appoint police officer Devin Gregorio to the position of detective in the Yorktown Police Department. This appointment is at the discretion of the chief of police. Accept the retirement letter received from Judy Goretto from the police department effective July 11th, 2026, with really heartfelt gratitude and thanks for her many years of dedicated service to the town. Judy, not only an employee, but just like so active in the community and with the people, and receive compliment upon compliment of anyone that has had to deal with her. We will accept the resignation letter received from police officer Gino Argiro from the Yorktown Police Department effective July 5th, 2026, and good luck to you, Gino. And then I have one to read in. Be it resolved that Brandon Schmelmer is hereby appointed contingent permanent as a police sergeant, job class code 0133-01 from eligible list number 74-902, effective July 13th, 2026, to be paid from the Yorktown PBA salary schedule, which is $151,925 annually. Be resolved that this appointment is subject to probationary period of not less than 12 nor more than 52 weeks, commencing on the first date of appointment on July 13th, 2026. Can I have a motion on those?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. We have a few discussions. First up is a presentation on Hoot Board. We got,
Hey, Bill, you on?
we got Bill Mott via Zoom.
I'm gonna turn you up a little bit. Do you hear us? All right. Okay.
Yep.
So you're here at our town board meeting for July 7th with the town board, and you can go ahead and give your presentation.
Alrighty, I will just give a quick sort of how we got here. I'm Bill Mott with Hoot Board. I'm joined by Satya at our home office just outside of Princeton, and Suraj, who manages our software team, are joining on the call. And a couple weeks back, Diana reached out to us about interactive kiosks for Yorktown, and we discussed both indoor and outdoor models with the advantages and hurdles as far as deployment goes for each. We sort of settled in on focusing on a couple of indoor kiosks, and when I reached out about which functionality she wished to show on this demonstration, she was focused mainly on updating municipal calendars and announcements, so we will focus on that. We have a kiosk set up in our office here that we'll demonstrate on. This is an upright kiosk that is in all black finish. Don't get too hung up on the physical form of the kiosk. They can take different shapes. They can be upright mounts. They can be wall mounts. We can put logos on them for towns or the Chamber of Commerce or any other organization. We can put full vinyl wraps on them to sort of capture the branding, imaging of the town or any organization. So with that, I will turn it over to Satya, who will give a demonstration of the functionality. I know we're under a time window here, and we'll try to be respectful of that while showing you what you need to see.
Thank you.
Yep. Hey, thanks a lot, Bill, for this thing. If anyone has anything that they're curious about, or just an idea pops up and want to ask a question, definitely feel free to. It's not going to bother me. I don't know how your meeting is run, but it's not going to bother me if you guys want me to answer anything. With that said, I'm just going to use like 5 minutes or so to quickly just walk through major functions and what this can do. Given the time, we won't go into like details of each of the functionalities. You guys can dig deeper into anything specific that you want to know about, and then I can always kind of lead through that. But what you're seeing here, it's a touch screen, but when it's not getting used, it will fall back on its own to its idle state, what we call. This could be like short video clips, PDFs, images that are there, or custom like HTML5 announcements that can be built right through the platform. All of these can be shown here. We also have really of interest in this particular time, but that's what it takes on. It also kind of pops up other messages like, this is something that's happening in the calendar in terms of an event that will pop up, or any of the key restaurants or other things you want to highlight from the city. Those can be highlighted. It has a selfie app, and it will prompt user to use it and stuff like that. So we'll talk about those things later. You just saw weather as the last thing that popped up. So these can be set up by the administrator very easily later on. Typically, Hootboard as a screen UI, and I have now touched this, so kind of constitutes a simple app layout, which you can see, and We designed this purposely because nowadays people know exactly what to do with this. We don't have to train them. They don't have to learn about any menu. They know what apps are. They will go and touch it and do it. Sometimes it can be set up to have like a bulletin board piece underneath, which, these will go up a little bit and then it will show some announcements. So you can also set up in that view, and that can be easily changed from the software. Talking about the bulletin board, I'm going to actually go into that first so that, this is a community bulletin app that I'm going into. That's essentially set up by any of your administrators or different departments can come in, send their content in, and the central administrator team can essentially approve these. These can be opened into like wider announcement details, whether it's get tickets or read something. People can send it to each other themselves via email. Or there's, I don't think it's enabled on this screen, but there's an itinerary builder where it can be added to, and people can take a bunch of announcements and send it to themselves as well from there. Okay. Other apps that kind of bring variety of functionality, I'm just going to quickly go through them that kind of cover most of, what you guys were interested in. An events calendar, this can be connected to a variety of like online calendars, but also imported. We also have partnerships that will send community events into the platform. So they actually go in and curate them manually or through AI, and they can send in. So that's, that can be added, but all of these can come in. And again, you can expand the access to like some of your city partners, and then central administrators can kind of just curate them as we go along. Other things like a directory of different offices and stuff that can be in the community. So when people come in, they can find who they're looking for advice right away. There's a city guide application that talks about everything that's happening around in terms of what's available, attractions, food, and this thing. That's, again, we bring it from public databases, but then in certain plans you also have access to kind of curate your own if you wanted to be able to do that. And then that includes the itinerary builder, where people can go in and have like an AI trip planner based on what your requirements are, and then it will actually create an itinerary just for you. So it will just kind of go in and do that automatically as well, based on what it is. So it just kind of gave me a couple different locations and created a list for multiple days in this particular case. There's also local transit information. I don't specifically know if you guys have, but if you just want to know where you want to kind of go in from one city to another one. I haven't used this in a while myself, but let me just go to the city guide and trigger it from there. So if I wanted to go to the zoo, I'm going to be able to kind of view details and actually get directions, which takes us to the application, and then I can go in and see those like a full transit capability to that location from your location. So again, everything that a new user visitor would want, it depends on what actually your capability needs. And then we can talk about how you can embed websites in apps and stuff. But let me pause here because I already went through a lot, see if any questions have come up, and then we can talk about some other cool things if needed.
I have a couple questions at the end.
Any questions?
I have a couple questions for the end,
Okay.
but you can go on.
Okay, cool. The way we engage people, I mean, a lot of times people will come in and do simple things like a selfie. People love these because, and our pedigree is coming from tourism, so especially that's a slightly different use case. But people love it and like to take a picture, send it to themselves, and it also kind of captures emails for you guys to be able to communicate with people, over email. They can provide opt-ins for the city to send in the communications. You can create your own FAQs and other lists that can easily be made available to the public. and then of course they can access this. And then most importantly, all of this, if it's not already on your website, it can be made available for people to be able to pick up on the mobile phone and send it to themselves, so they can just simply look at all of this on their mobile phone as well. Everything, all the touches, every activity that you're doing, we capture in a detailed analytics report, so you know how it's getting used. You can see what content people are liking and then not liking or not using, and then you can kind of adjust your details on that. And then as depending on what plans, it can auto translate some of the content into different languages. With some cities, it can be valuable, in some communities. So it's either everything in terms of apps or anything that is posted onto the platform, the city guide, all of these standard things. What it will not translate is like images and stuff that are posted in, that it will not translate. So you might have to post them twice. But let me just switch back the language so I don't get lost myself. Apps can be on multiple levels, but I think one of the biggest things, again, going back to the community board, was to make simple announcements that you want to be able to do. Now, what these announcements are, it could be just images and content that you already have. You're simply going to go in and post. It's just like posting on social media, and we can, if time permits, we can go a little bit on the back end on how easy it is or not, or we can show it specifically to a subgroup later on. But not only this can be done, but we can also connect it to TVs that might be already installed as digital signage, and it can also run your digital signage platform and the loops that you can create. So this is just the static signage. It's literally a TV running in my office here that's shown next to it. So different kinds of content can be used for communication. You have the interactive screens, and then you can complement that with the static screen. So we always recommend doing that, where if possible, you want to kind of bring all your communications under one platform, and then from here you can easily distribute your content across the board. People, and last but not the least, people can actually follow the board so that they can get email announcements as new content gets posted and stuff, and they can opt in and opt out themselves for that. So I guess that's really it. I think anything else we can drive by. Any questions?
Yeah, I have a couple. Is the
Sure, please.
is the database for this, is it on one server, or is each board have its own hardware to hook up the websites? And so
no, it's on our cloud server. So it's what industry would call multi-tenant. So multiple accounts are on there, but we distribute all the content separately. So all the images and stuff, each account gets its own content repository, if it makes sense. So it doesn't get mixed into like on Facebook, it will get mixed into a pool of content that they are just going to tag. Here, each account content is kept separately. So once deleted,
I'm talking about if we had, let's just say we end up with 4 or 5, Hooter boards. Well, they'll all have the same look and feel because it's coming from your cloud.
Correct. They can all have the same look and feel, though they can be customized within the same account. They can be customized a little bit, meaning each Hoot board will naturally have its own specific location as to where it is at. So the city guide will automatically update accordingly. But even on that, we can, organize content by specific collections and make collections, prominent on certain screens.
Yeah, I know about the content. I was just talking.
Can be disabled.
Okay, I was just talking about each one of them will be the same look and feel, which brings me to the next question. Are these connected via Ethernet or Wi-Fi?
They could be both. It does need, whether you have Wi-Fi or Ethernet, we do need consistent connectivity.
No, I get
because
that.
they're almost live.
That makes a difference if it could be wall mounted or has to be standalone.
Correct. No, you could do both. You could have it stand alone and connect to Wi-Fi. You could connect it to wall mount and be Wi-Fi or Ethernet. So yeah.
And the last question is: the central administrator, is that going to be a Yorktown employee?
Correct. We usually, I mean, we have services to help you with content, but usually, most of our partners manage the content themselves.
Okay.
I'll just add, you can also distribute that responsibility to different people and either give full posting access to a variety of people or have one central person be the final arbiter of what gets posted, whereas, maybe the Parks and Rec department person will submit 3 things to be posted, and then the final administrator will say, yes, these are all good to be posted, or if for whatever reason, we can't post this, change the content. So that can be distributed as widely or as narrowly as you guys want.
I'm very proud of our community, but I'm concerned. Have you had any issues in terms of vandalism, in terms of these units?
So we have been lucky that our screens never have had that issue. That's not to say that it won't happen someday, right? But I think people we have noticed are generally very civil in front of the screens. I think maybe because we have the selfie, these are all vanity cameras, but people are just careful in front of cameras, I guess, nowadays. But we never had issues so far with people damaging. I mean, we had instances where people put a sticker on the screen trying to market their business and stuff, and that was a no-no, but that could be easily taken care of.
Thank you.
Does the camera record if in case of vandalism, sort of like a Tesla car? Is there a constant recording?
No, we don't do that out of these standard cameras, just for privacy reasons. Especially in outdoor kiosks, we do provide an option to have additional cameras that can go directly to your public safety, so that we don't have to take the responsibility of the privacy aspects of it. So your public safety typically might have, some sort of a recording triage capability, and we can send a feed to that directly.
So I got a couple of
There are
questions.
a variety of public safety platforms that use camera feeds that your people may or may not currently be using. If they are, we could install cameras in the outdoor kiosks and integrate into their system, which just gives them one more data pointer.
So I got a couple.
Yeah, I think I misspoke. We can also make feeds available from the indoor cameras as well, but we don't process them on our end.
So I got a couple of questions for you. So
Sure.
as far as the durability, what's the warranty on these things? And the second question, which is a follow-up to the warranty, is what's the mean time before failure? How long is this thing going to last before we start having problems?
Yeah. So they out of the box they come with a 1-year, parts and labor warranty. In that, if it has a catastrophic failure, we'll replace it. You just pay for shipping. Up to additional 3 years of warranty can be purchased ahead of time. That could include like on-site servicing if needed. Most of these LCDs, which is the kind of most delicate component, if you will, inside of that, those are rated for 60,000 hours of continuous runtime, which equates to roughly 5 years. So if that gives you like the rating, so to speak.
Yeah, that's what I was
And we have seen them pretty well go 5 years, though some do kind of have some things come up in 2-3 years, but that's very rare.
5 years is the average, right? So, all right, thank you.
I've got
Yep.
two questions. One maybe is more for the clerk who's looked into this. At an earlier presentation, I thought we were talking about 2 locations, one town hall, and I'm not sure what the other one was.
These can actually be placed inside and outside, so whatever the town board decides they can do. If they wanted to put one in front of the YCC, they could. You can do whatever you want with it.
Okay, so, all right.
Inside, you just plug it in, and the software's there, and you just go.
Connected to our internal Wi-Fi here,
Exactly.
and you're good to go.
Okay, my other question, and you're going to laugh. This is probably more a function of my age. I don't use many apps, right? I use a computer. And when I want something, I go to Google. If I want some town information, I go to the town's website. It seems to me that this kiosk, if you're looking for the community calendar or events, you're accessing the town website to get that information. This afternoon, I happened to be out, and I want to check something on the calendar, so that's how I found it. I just used my phone and got to the town went to the town website, got the calendar, got the information that I wanted. So, does this just? I don't consider myself quite a Luddite, even though I don't use apps. But it seems like this just is one step. It goes, you press the button and it goes right to the community calendar instead of my having to access yorktownny.gov and then hitting community calendar. For all of the ones that what you're looking at for events and so forth, directory of offices, what the Parks Department is doing, how to contact the police department, the highway department, whatever. It just saves one additional click on a screen, it seems to me. Am I correct in that?
Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think each tile you could define. So one tile could be a calendar. One tile could be this, and that's what they were doing. Each tile has its own, we'll call it a database,
Yeah.
but it's really not a database.
So it saves one step.
Purpose, yeah.
Instead of going to
it's
Yorktown, the
It's a
Yorktown website.
it's a universal
Yeah.
kiosk.
So it saves me one step. Instead of going to yorktownny.gov and then hitting community calendar, here I'm pressing a button and I'm going right to the community calendar, and that's what it's saving basically. Is that?
Well, I mean, I understand your point. Your point is,
It's a
are we
repository.
duplicating what we already have in our pocket? I think that's your point.
It's
right?
not.
So-
No, it's not duplicating. It seems like it's one step easier. It
Well,
seems to me.
it does make it easier, and the idea is the convenience of it, having it, in key
Centrally located.
locations. It's a kiosk. It's really it's a high tech kiosk. I mean, the concept is sound. I get it. I understand it. I want to hear more about it, but I understand what you're saying. Yeah, other than that, and with this, we could define what I think what Councilman Murphy was saying. We could define what we want people to gravitate to. If we're having an event across town, maybe the kiosk here has the event at the library, where here's what's going on with the library, and so you're here, you're having lunch, and then you click on it, you stop at this thing, you say, oh my God, the library's having a movie. Let me run over there. It's kind of like that. You could shine a light, spotlight what you want as far as what's going in town, what messages you want to get out there. So there's that as well. We would cater the content to where we want to drive people to the library, to the events that are the many events that we have going around town on any given day.
So the Revolution
Central
250 could be its own tile. And it'll tell you everything from April to November would be listed in there.
And now I go to Yorktown Gov and I
I
get
get
the
it, but
250. And
People, everybody,
it-
these days, everyone wants to be instantaneous.
Well, that's where I say
Yeah.
I'm a function of my
Yeah.
age and not using apps. I go to the website that I need.
Right.
So I'm just asking for
Yeah.
all of you young people out there. Right? Okay. You young people.
Put your hand on his right, John.
They all raise their hands in the front row here, these guys.
I glory in this new technology. I glory in it. I use it. But I just, it's an expense, and I just don't know how it would be used and what else it would add. I'm not against technology.
And then ask this question.
I understand.
Text it to me.
I don't have any other questions. I mean,
I guess this would be a question for you, Bill, about some of the pricing. I know the shipping. Where are the things built? Are they in the East Coast here or West Coast?
Well, Satya is at the home office. He is just outside of Princeton, New Jersey, so not, a huge distance from you. Most of the hardware is sourced overseas, like all TV screens and such are. We typically maintain inventory of the popular models, and, if we decide to go with something unique, that might be something that's built and shipped. We did submit some unit costs to Diana for both indoor and outdoor. Uh, the indoor screens are obviously less expensive. They don't have to be built to endure the outdoors. They're also much easier to, let's just say you put one in the town hall lobby, and after 6 months you realize, well, nobody's really using it. You know, it's not difficult to pick up an indoor kiosk and take it to the library and put it in the library lobby and see if, you know, you get more interaction there. The outdoor kiosks, you're a bit more committed because you're pouring a concrete slab, you're running power and data, typically bolting it down. So, you know, I always use this analogy is that an indoor kiosk is sort of like you're dating. You know, you can put it somewhere, and if it doesn't work out, you just move on a little bit down the road. When you start talking about an outdoor kiosk, you're really getting married to that location because, again, when you pour concrete and set bolts in the ground, you're pretty much committing.
And you were talking on the quote, it had down like you guys wrapped it and custom logoed. You explain.
We can do whatever it is you like, or you can do that in the aftermarket. A lot of times there are local vendors who can do that less costly than we can, and it also allows you, you know, if you wanted to every other year, if you had a rebrand or something special, it's not ridiculously expensive to say we're going to put a new wrap on this to capture our new campaign or our new image. So yes to wraps and logos. You can give us artwork and we can do it for you, or we can send you you know, the blank kiosk and you can do what you want with a local supplier.
I gotcha.
There's no shortage of folks who are doing vinyl wraps on contractors' trucks and tailgates and all those things. We just send them a diagram of the dimensions and they've got no problem, you know, coming up with a rendering, printing it, and putting it on.
Yeah, in the previous presentation, we've got a quote, and I assume this is for an interior wall mount, a unit price of roughly $6,700. So what if we wanted and then there's a stand, so I guess it's $350 if we want it indoors but with the stand. Are those the right numbers that we're looking at?
I believe that's correct. You know, if I sent you a document with those numbers, those are, you know, the numbers we sent. The screen itself is the same screen. The way it's manufactured, the stand can slide in the back and make it an upright mount. So, you know, again, if you put an upright kiosk in let's just say the lobby of City Hall, and, you know, 6 months later decided it would be better at the library, but the library wanted a wall mount or vice versa, the same screen can be, you know, mounted on just like a TV mount on a wall. So the indoor ones are very versatile like that.
And is there a yearly service charge for software, something like that?
There is a software license that actually they come in packages. So a software package will cover 3 or 4 screens. So as you add additional screens, initially there's not really an additional software cost. You're sort of paying that in one bundle.
So what would the minimum be if we had up to 3 screens?
5,400.
What would that yearly cost be in addition to the installation?
I think as the councilman said, you know, the most popular plan we have is $5,400 annually. We also offer a plan at $3,600 annually that has slightly less functionality. You know, we can, if we get beyond this, we can discuss, you know, what the difference in functionality is and if the town sees value in the higher grade plan.
Does that include a warranty as well? If you get the annual 5,400, let's say?
Well,
or is the warranty
that's a software license,
right,
not necessarily the hardware. The hardware, we can quote an annual cost to have a full warranty on the hardware if that's your desire. If you want to have, you know, 3-year out of the box full warranty, we can quote that. Typically, we quote the initial 1-year warranty.
And that's not accidental damage or anything like that. That's just the warranty doesn't cover.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we can't warranty against somebody throwing a fire extinguisher through a screen. I mean, that's just, but if anything fails in its normal use, that's covered under warranty.
Okay.
Not that we've had anybody throw fire extinguishers through screens, but I just use that as, I guess as city council members, you guys have to allow for what a random knucklehead may do.
I was thinking more like a storm or something, but fire extinguisher.
Yeah, Bill has some wild
harsher
ideas.
of a concept, but yeah,
An irate resident who's paying a tax
So
bill.
in your system here, is it possible, and I may have missed this when I stepped out of the room for a minute, is it possible to have like a database collector? So if I wanted to sign up for town emails or Nixle alerts, I could do that right on board there?
Yeah, so it naturally does that. Also, when I mentioned when people take a selfie and people love it, they have to send the selfie to themselves. They enter their email, and then we take an opt-in from them right there. So we take the permission from them if our partner, which is you in this case, is allowed to email you, and they usually, most of the times, they say yes to that. So you would have opted in emails right out of the bat, but you can also put in your form. So you can create your own custom app, let's say for a survey of how the town is doing, and you want people to come in and, if they're going to be there for an event or something, talk about what they feel good about the town. You can do that. You can create those kinds of apps easily through just simple website tools that are already available. And we might have some apps on that front as well in our app store.
Great.
Which reminds me that pending the town's adoption of this type of a system, it's good to remind our residents that right now you can sign up on the town website to get public notices. Hurricanes are coming. The police have been sending out the notices about road closings because of the recent storm. You can find out all kinds of special notices, meeting agendas, things like that. And you
Susan-
just have to go to the clerk's page to sign up.
Susan, I want to stay on point
Yeah,
because we have
but
the public hearing.
pending doing
The
this.
last question I have for you, have you had any of your municipalities have had this go through, like where you have like a sponsorship for a month where you could put a logo up there? Has that been something that's been done, or is that?
Yeah, so we ourselves have what we call a hyperlocal advertising program, which you can turn on once you get the screen, and then that adds the screen to like local businesses to be able to kind of send their messaging. But you can, if you already have like businesses that you work with locally or you're offering directly, you're welcome to kind of get them to just charge the money directly and then just put their logo on, which a lot of our partners do that as well. It's not like traditional advertising. It's more what you're saying is somebody's sponsoring the kiosk, which you can totally do that. Some towns like it, some towns don't. It depends on the culture there.
We have towns that, there's a youth sport complex with a corporate sponsor, and they've stepped up. They put the wrap on the kiosk with some of their branding on it to, get something from it. But, again, they're helping to defray the cost. Or this is still somewhat all municipal, but we've had, maybe a town, a chamber of commerce, and an economic development committee or business improvement district, if you have any, almost tri-brand something so that each sort of, kicks in to support the program.
All right. So leave some opportunity there. George, if you could look into some of the legalities on that for New York and what we'd need.
Yes, sir.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, Bill.
Yep. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so that completes us.
We're done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot, guys.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you for putting that together, Diana.
I mean, you can do some fun stuff with it too, like you pick Citizen of the Month, put the person's picture, or a cop of the year, cop of the month, something like that. You can do fun stuff with it, but I think it needs a discussion.
Yep. All right, next up, discussion about a Sheridan Gorman Memorial at Downing Park. Matt, why don't you introduce everyone that's here with you?
Good evening. Sergio, those were wonderful words. They really hit home. I'm here tonight on behalf of the Recreation Commission to present a project that the Commission unanimously approved at our July 2nd meeting, the proposed Sheridan Gordon Memorial at Downing Park. On June 4th, a group of Sheridan's friends came before the Rec Commission to share their vision for a memorial in her honor. At that time, the concept was still preliminary stages, with only a few potential park locations under consideration. The Commission was immediately moved by the thoughtfulness of this proposal and expressed strong support for creating the lasting tribute to Sheridan. Within days, we met with the group at Downing Park to review possible locations. It's worth noting, though, that when I first discussed this with the town supervisor, he recommended Downing Park as an especially fitting location. After visiting the site together, we all agreed it was an appropriate place for the memorial. At our July 2nd meeting, I presented a resolution recommending both the locations and the project, and the Rec Commission unanimously approved it. I'd also like to recognize the extraordinary generosity of the individuals who have made this possible. This project is being led entirely by friends of the Gorman family who have volunteered their professional expertise and resources of their companies to design, plan, construct this memorial at no cost to the town of Yorktown. Joe Cimelli, the architect engineer, Nick Caricati, contractor, company president, Jim Pugliese. Their commitment is a beautiful reflection of the impact Sheridan had on those around her and the community's desire to honor her memory in a meaningful way and lasting way. At this time, I'd like to invite those gentlemen up to give their presentation. Also would like to recognize John Campabassa, Vice Chairman, Tom Dunn, and Joe Falcone are all here in support of this project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it. Hello, everybody. Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm here tonight to present the monument honoring Sheridan Gorman. Few of us here know the Gorman family personally. Known Sheridan since she was little. So this hitting home hits home. Doesn't hit any harder than that. This monument is not intended to focus on tragedy, but rather to celebrate a life that touched so many people in our community. Sheridan's kindness, her spirit, her positive impact brought people together in a remarkable way, and her memory continues to do so today. One special feature of the monument is the green lighting. It's kind of, I'm going to get off track here for a second. That's kind of how this all came about. As we know, we've all have green lights lit across the town, and in our group chat, it was, when do we stop? Well, we can't stop. You know, what are we going to do for this family? Like, how do we remember this? And that's how this all started. And I'd be remiss if I didn't give Nick Caricati big shout out, because he's really been, you know, spearheading and just pushing forward and brought Joe on board. And, you know, they're the ones, and Nick's laborers are the ones that's gonna do the job. So following Sheridan's passing, the green lights appeared throughout Yorktown as a symbol of remembrance, love, and community support. What began as a simple gesture became a powerful expression of unity. Incorporating the green light into the monument would preserve that symbol and serve as a lasting reminder of how this community came together in her honor. It's going to be located, as we said, in Downing Park, right across the street from the Presbyterian Church, underneath the big oak tree, which is fitting because that's where we had her services, and that's where they were parishioners of. It's going to provide a place for reflection, remembrance, inspirations for generations to come. It would honor Sheridan's legacy while also recognizing the strength and compassion of a community that continues to remember her. So just want to thank you for allowing us to be here to present this. Joe is not with us. He had a meeting. He's on his way. If he gets here before we're done, I'm sure he can speak, but Joe's the one that put this rendering together. Again, this is done on the backs of all of these guys. You know, there's no cost to the town. And I think it's just going to be absolutely awesome. The lights are going to be something you're going to see as you come into town and as you leave town. So,
I think it's important to note that Downing Park is actually the center of the town of Yorktown, so it's quite appropriate there as well, holding all of the different sections together. But Jim, I have to assume that this is just an artist rendition.
It is.
That the Gormans will have input on.
And they have, and we've spoken to them. I've been in touch with Tom and Jess, discussed different locations, and they also signed off, and they think that that's an amazing spot. So yes, I've been in touch with them, and it's fitting because Downing, if you know the area, you have the little playground area there. Tom would bring Madeline and Sheridan to that playground area. It's walking distance. They can walk through the woods from where their house is to the park. And, you know, Nick had a great idea. One of the things that we're thinking about is maybe having a plaque that's going to have a QR code on it. And that QR code, you can go right up and it can tell the story. So it's easy there, and it's something, I think you said they did that with the football or lacrosse on their medals, you know, little QR code, and that's kind of inspired that, and we can put that up there, and you can change it, you can do whatever you need to do, but I think that's a great idea. This is obviously, like you said, Ed, it's the first rendering.
It's beautiful.
It's what we wanted to show. I think it is, and, you know, we have people on board to support and help in any way.
It's a wonderful thing. It's,
Great.
You want to add anything? You guys have any questions or anything on it?
You know, I don't think I do. I just, you know, once again, you know,
It's a tragedy. It should never have happened.
No.
And I think this is an amazing way that we as a town get to keep. If anyone knows Tom and Jess, being vice president of YAC for many years, Jess served as commissioner for cheer. Many times John and I would sit here and tell Jess, hey, you know, Jess out of the kindness of her heart would just purchase things for these kids because that's who she is. That's who they are. They are all about community. They're all about the town of Yorktown. Tom is born and raised here. This is where he was, you know, where he grew up. So he's a Husker through and through, and they will do anything for this community. And I think that this is a small token for what we can give back to them.
This is absolutely, you know, just overwhelming and amazing. I did see this, and every time I see it again and again, it's just, I don't know, it's just beautiful, and I think it's fitting.
Thank you.
I would just like to say something. Sergio, thank you for your comments. There's not more I can say. Horrific, tragic, whatever. And I grieve as a parent. I grieve for their families. I would just, without taking away from this concept of memorial, I would like to take a broader picture of the concept of how Yorktown memorializes some of its deceased residents. Over the years, we've had many memorials, and they've ranged from plaques to benches to naming public facilities and streets to fences and monuments. I just listed a few. We've got the Jack DeVito Veterans Memorial Field. We've got the veterans banners along Commerce Street, and we have plaques on East Main Street. We've renamed the community center for Al Capolini, Jake Akara, who died in a tragic accident, Tom Diana, we lost him prematurely to an illness, and we've renamed things for him. We have the fence for people who have died of drug overdoses. Captain Clayton Carpenter, that was many years ago. Some of you may not remember. He died, not sure if it was Iraq or Afghanistan. And now we have two pending memorials, one for Sheridan, and another one that's pending that hasn't gotten any publicity is for Officer Scroy from the police department, who died of an illness a few years ago, and there's a memorial pending, for him. What's happened is that there's no consistency to how we memorialize these people. There's no clear procedure for how they're memorialized. And
Susan, I'm sorry.
I'd like to finish what I want to say. Okay. And what I'd like to suggest, and I sent a memo to the town board about this, is that we need a policy. Many other communities have policies on how to memorialize the people that they would like to memorialize. And those policies can vary, but they talk about the types of memorials that are appropriate, where they should be located, how they impact public spaces, and also what the procedure is for requesting one and for approving one. It's not clear in Yorktown whether it's the Rec Commission or the town board. That there's a little confusion, and even the Rec Commission, I think, over the years have had issues, not just with deceased people, but they also had an issue about naming a live person who also contributed much to the community. So what I'd like to suggest is that we don't rush ahead with this, but we take a pause, look at the possibilities for a policy so that we can deal with this in a consistent, fair way to remember and memorialize and honor some of the people who have lived in Yorktown and unfortunately have died for illness or tragedies for Gorman. So there's no urgency to rush ahead. Let's sit and think about this and think about what is appropriate. And there's absolutely no disrespect meant for Sheridan and for her memory.
But it is disrespectful, Susan.
It is
I'm
not.
sorry. It is 100% disrespectful because this is an 18-year-old child who was gunned down in college. In college. This wasn't a grown man, and God rest his soul, he was a friend of mine, who had a heart attack. This wasn't a police officer who was sick. These weren't people who fought in a war for our country. This was an 18-year-old child. And the fact that you're going to sit there and try to say we're going to put a pause on this offends me. And it's offensive to the Gorman family.
I'm sorry if you interpret it that way, because I made clear
That's the only way to interpret it.
I don't mean it that way. I think I am, as responsible as a town official, I am looking at what is in the interest for the whole community and setting precedents and having some consistency. We have spent so many hours at this meeting because of the controversy over the Jack DeVito field.
Why are we doing it over an 18-year-old child?
Hold on, Jim, if I may, and Susan.
We also have to
Susan,
do it
if I may.
whether he's sergeant or a lieutenant, I'm not sure,
Susan,
Roy, and we have to discuss that.
Susan, if I may, you actually sent the email, as you said. I responded with the fact that is exactly why I asked the Recreation Commission to come before the town board so it could be done in unity. And the fact that and I agreed with you with the fact that we need to look down the road to see what we need. I think, though, that this one is an open wound in our community, and I think that this is something that we need to begin the healing. It's not just the Gormans, because they were so involved in YAC, so involved in the schools. Sheridan was the manager for the lacrosse team. She did so many things. This is a huge effect in our community. And you know what? You want to vote no, fine. I am not pumping the brakes. I think that this is something that it's the least we as legislators can do, because in all honesty, legislation failed Sheridan, and it's the least we could do to move forward and honor her memory, especially because of how impactful she was, not to our generation, but to her generation. And
I would just also voice that this is not a political issue. Although down the road at some point in time, I hope that immigration policy can be addressed in Sheridan's honor, and all other issues can be addressed. right now, like you say, Ed, we're dealing with an open wound in this community. And I think this board has an obligation to do whatever we can to try to heal that open wound. And I think that this is a beautiful memorial, and I don't think that we should put any kind of pause on honoring Sheridan and trying to heal as best we can the feelings of her family and the feelings of this community. And I agree with you, Ed, in terms of...
I agree with you, Lanny. Well said.
I'm just saying,
And shame on whoever was clapping in the back for the other one.
yeah, no comment on that one. But anyway, I'm just saying, to be quite honest, I don't think we need to add, more government and more red tape, in a situation where, we can make decisions. I know you brought up the Jack DeVito Field. The problem there is that the back then in the 90s, the town board never finalized anything, and that's why the issue was prevalent today, because they
32 years
didn't
later.
finish it. They didn't finish the job. I don't think we need more government to figure out that, how we honor people who were prominent or relevant in our community. I don't think more government is the solution. And I got to be honest, I am not putting a pause on this. So apparently everybody else feels the same way. I don't know, Susan, I don't know how you feel, but absolutely not.
I just want to introduce Joe. Made it from his meeting. This is Joe who came up with the renderings for this beautiful memorial.
Thank you for that, Joe.
I
Joe.
just
All
want
right.
to make it clear that I agree with this community and with the parents for Sheridan. And I'm not saying the memorial is not an appropriate thing. I'm just saying that it's time that this town has a policy for Sheridan, for Officer Scroy, and for whoever may die
Now is not
tomorrow
that
and
time.
tomorrow.
Now is not that time.
Right.
Okay, and
I
it doesn't take
respectfully
that long
disagree
to,
with you.
to
Now is not
develop
that
a
time.
policy. All right.
We don't need
I don't
to.
think
I
we-
am.
I don't think we need more
I'm
policy.
going to move. I am going to move to the for town board consideration, a resolution authorizing the placement of a memorial at Downing Park in honor of Sheridan Gorman, and in her honor, I want to read the whole resolution. Whereas the town of Yorktown and its residents suffered a profound loss with the tragic death of Sheridan Gorman on March 19th, 2026, and whereas Sheridan Gorman, an 18-year-old Yorktown resident and freshman at Loyola University, Chicago, was a beloved member of the Yorktown community whose life was taken far too soon in a senseless act of violence, and whereas Sheridan's death deeply affected not only her family and friends, but also the broader Yorktown community, which came together in grief, remembrance, and unwavering support for the Gorman family. And whereas the Recreation Commission recognizes that the outpouring of compassion, solidarity, and collective mourning demonstrated by residents reflects the extraordinary impact Sheridan had on the community and the unique nature of this loss. And whereas the Recreation Commission acknowledges the request for permanent memorials within town parks are generally considered with great care and restraint in order to preserve public spaces for the enjoyment of all residents. And whereas the Recreation Commission finds that the circumstances surrounding Sheridan Gorman's passing and the collective grief experienced throughout the town of Yorktown warrant special consideration and constitute an extraordinary exception, and whereas the design of the memorial and the construction are being generously donated at no cost to the town of Yorktown by Joe Gamelli, president of KSCJ Consulting, and Nick Caracati, a licensed contractor and president of Northeast Construction, and Northeast Construction has agreed to perform all work associated with the design and installation of the memorial in compliance with all applicable laws, codes, permits, and construction standards. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town of Yorktown Recreation Commission hereby authorizes the placement of a permanent memorial in honor of Sheridan Gorman within Downing Park. Be it further resolved that the specific location, design, and placement of the memorial shall be determined collaboratively by the Gorman family, the Recreation Commission, and the Town Board in a manner that is respectful of both Sheridan Gorman's memory and the character of Downing Park, and be it further resolved that the memorial and the installation shall be donated at no cost to the town of Yorktown. Be it further resolved that all construction, installation, related work shall be performed in accordance with all applicable laws, regulations, permits, and requirements. Be it further resolved that this action is approved as a special and unique circumstance in recognition of the extraordinary impact of Sheridan Gorman's loss upon the Yorktown community, and shall not be construed as establishing a precedent for future requests for permanent memorials within town parks. And be it further resolved that once this action is approved by the Town of Yorktown Recreation Commission, it will go before the Yorktown Town Board for its approval. And be it finally resolved that the Recreation Commission extends its deepest condolences to the Gorman family and honors Sheridan Gorman's memory, whose spirit, kindness, and lasting impact will remain an enduring part of the Yorktown community. May I have a motion?
I will definitely make that motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
I'm going to abstain. I am not opposed to the memorial. I just want to set the policy first.
You know, I watched Jess Gorman at a Senate hearing, and she basically said, when you make a statement and then say "but," you're really saying you're against your initial statement. I thought it was very powerful, and I thought that it was disgraceful the way it was done to her at our Senate Judiciary hearing. But that is up for people to live with. I will tell you that I still want to be involved, but anything that I have a voting right in goes to Jessica and Tom.
Thank you. Thank you all. And I hope everybody remembers how you voted, Susan.
All right, we are spared the tree and stormwater permit for 600 Kitchewan Road today. They could not make it, so we are going to go to public comment.
That would have been an exciting one.
Before I go into public comment, let me just go over a few things. You do not have to wait for courtesy of the floor for public comment. Today we do have a public hearing on the agenda. So you can save your comments for the public hearing instead of repeating them. I also think it's appropriate to state by some of the emails that we got today that the town board is, guys, girls. Tom, can you close that door for me, please? Oh, that's not Tom, actually. Cindy, thank you. I will also state that the town board are the ones who want the moratorium, so you do not have to convince us. We put this up, so you do not have to come up to the microphone and give us 20 minutes about why we should have the moratorium. We know, we put it forward, and just trying to save you all little time to spend with your family.
Yeah.
So, and it's 3 minutes per speaker. Identify yourself when you come, and please make sure that you address the board. And you do not have to wait for a town board meeting. You could call, email, as we know, and be part of that. All right.
This is public comment. This isn't the moratorium hearing.
This is public comment.
Okay.
Yes.
Although I'm prepared to vote on the moratorium before public comments. So just so you guys know, okay? Just so go ahead. Sir.
Confused here.
I apologize. Sir.
No problem.
Daniel Lefkowitz and my wife Carol.
Hi.
We're at 2057 Lavoie Court in Yorktown.
And you're the number one dad.
That's what I'm told.
Somebody told me that. All right, we're gonna have to talk about it after the meeting.
Challenge
I'm
you.
sorry. Go ahead.
The reason I'm here is because we live on Lavoie and across the way is Baldwin Road. And the speed limit's 30 miles an hour. I can't tell you how fast cars are going on Baldwin Road. They're going 40 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour, 60 miles an hour. And I've contacted the police about 2 years ago. They said we'll send a patrol car. There was a patrol car maybe for a day or so. I've contacted the supervisor's office a number of times, and I was told that your office would be contacting the highway department, the police department. Nothing has been done. and it's way too dangerous. You have kids bicycling on Baldwin Road. You have people walking. We have the park, the path from FDR Park going into town. It's so incredibly dangerous that my wife and I are afraid to even cross the street. And even if you're standing on the road, you're praying that you're not going to get killed. And something has to be done. I understand you could say, yeah, the police will come, but that's only temporary. So I'm requesting that something permanently be done, either a stop sign or a speed bump. Something has to be done to slow the cars down.
And it's both directions. It's coming from the Taconic, they don't slow down. They just, there's a light at the end by 202. And once they hit our street, which is right across from the path, they're taking off like 30 miles, 40 miles an hour.
Even faster than
50
that.
maybe even. We're afraid to go to the path. We love to walk, and the cars are zooming by. It's
Someone's going to get killed.
I hate to say it, but there's a
Lonnie,
possibility.
we can't answer until
Oh, I'm
after.
sorry. Okay.
We'll answer at the end. Thank
All
you
right,
so
thank you.
much.
Thanks.
Hi, Karen Erickson. I also would like to address a traffic concern. My car was almost hit in late December of 2025 by an 18-wheeler that was traveling westbound on Granite Springs Road and was unable to navigate the turn by Sparkle Lake. The truck crossed the double yellow line into my lane on a blind curve and just missed hitting me. The truck driver then proceeded to back up on the hill with no line of sight to the traffic that was traveling in his lane, and it created an extremely dangerous situation. On January 7th of this year, I spoke with the highway superintendent about the near miss and asked if it would be possible to make the entire length of Granite Springs Road in Yorktown and Somers a 5-ton weight limit. Dave stated that he would contact Somers and he thought it could easily be done. Now, I know he had a really busy February. So in March, I reached out to him again via email and followed up to see if he had an update. When I did not get a reply, I emailed Dave and all of you on May 5th and June 1st regarding the commercial traffic and the weight limit on Granite Springs Road. I realize you were all very busy, but no one responded to my emails requesting to expand the weight limit in the area. As we all know, traffic in the center of town has gotten more congested with the revitalized shopping areas. While the shopping is a plus, the additional traffic that is being funneled into residential neighborhoods is not. Granite Springs Road has always been a cut-through, but the traffic has changed in the last year and a half, resulting in regular use by oversized commercial vehicles. Granite Springs Road currently has a posted 5-ton weight limit from the intersection of Broad Street to the intersection of Quaker Church Road. That has been in place for decades. But in spite of that, we have tractor trailers and oversized box trucks traveling the road almost every day, many exceeding the 30-mile-an-hour speed limit. These tractor trailers and commercial vehicles do not belong in a residential neighborhood. By posting a weight limit for the entire length of Granite Springs Road, you would keep those trucks on 202. There are no commercial businesses other than Guiding Eyes and the Gomer Deli on Granite Springs, so there's no reason for those trucks to be there. From spring through autumn, Granite Springs Road is busy with adults and children walking and riding bikes from the surrounding neighborhoods to and from Sparkle Lake or the North County Trailway. It is only a matter of time before something serious happens. As more traffic is created in the center of town, more oversized vehicles are seeking this cut-through to avoid it. Commercial traffic needs to stay on 202, and I'm asking you to create a 5-ton weight limit for the entire length of Granite Springs Road. I also want to say very quickly, my son also graduated with Sheridan, and I think that memorial is the most wonderful thing the town could do for her family, because that tragedy affected every one of those kids that was in her graduating class.
I agree. Thank you, Karen.
Good evening, Jay Kopstein. Susan, I listened to every word you said. How many people have been murdered, like Sheridan was, by somebody who was unlawfully in the country, allowed in by an administration who refused to enforce existing law? I think you were out of line. I would ask that the town clerk, when putting out the handicap mirror hangers, remind the people that when the cars are in motion, those hangers are not supposed to be hung. It's on this.
We do
the
that
hanger.
now. Unfortunately, they do keep them up, but we do remind them when they come in.
Thank you. Finally, e-bikes are becoming more and more a problem. The town can do regulations, the state of New Jersey did, the city of New York did, but their communist mayor, by executive order, suspended the enforcement of the law. Take them, and on a second offense, crush them. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay.
Good morning, good evening. It's
Something.
been that kind of a day.
Something.
Sarah Wilson, resident of Yorktown Heights. We were talking about senseless deaths, and I did look up the statistics for traffic fatalities here in Yorktown. Over the past 15 years, 49 people here in Yorktown have been killed in traffic accidents, and many of those, some of them certainly were pedestrians. So it's 49 people is more than 3 on average per year. I want to congratulate Robin on her permanent appointment as head of planning. And just one agenda item, I noticed it was from the police department regarding engagement of Skilled GIS Solutions to support the software, the mapping software for their Motorola Flex system. And I tried to look up the company, and I couldn't find anything on them other than their incorporation approximately a year ago. They're not listed as a certified partner of the Esri software. There are a lot of companies that are, so I'm just, I know you guys won't have the answer, but maybe we could just find out why this company was selected, because I can't find really much about them other than that they're operating out of a small single-family house in New City, but I can't find anything else other than their incorporation data. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Wendy Frank. I'd like to reiterate and commend my neighbors also regarding the truck traffic and this on Granite Springs Road. Also, I'd like to say on Granite Springs Road at the stop sign, the Granite Springs Road at Granite Springs Road and Curry Street, because there's 2 Curry Streets. At the stop sign, when you make the left, the foliage at Crystal Lake, it's hard. There's a sight distance problem there. We've put a letter, we've written to the highway department, no response. My neighbor also, we chatted, wrote, no response. What I'd like to see, instead of kiosks in town, maybe some better technology, so when you write to the town, just like when you go to a deli, you get a ticket number. How about some better technology so that when you put in your request to have the trees trimmed in an intersection, that you get a ticket number, because right now there's numerous people who, when you write to the town, it's like osmosis. You don't get a response. Thank you. That's a better use than electronic kiosks.
Good evening. Ken Belfer from Mohegan Lake. I know some of you don't know that.
Mohegan Lake, are they having a lake day coming up?
Do you have any literature?
Well, that's Mohegan Lake Improvement District's kind of annual newsletter. And just in case not all the board members know about Lake Day, there is a schedule in it. of all the events. And I just want to share that with the public. I think it's a fun day with some interesting and different things this year. We start out with a kids fishing derby at 9:30 in the morning at Mohegan Beach Park. I know this information is available on the town website with the addresses. I won't repeat everything, but the poles and bait are provided. It's good fun for kids and a good way for them to try out fishing. We do have a special presentation. We're fortunate to have Lynn Briggs, who's coming to Mohegan Highlands at noon. Is going to set up our Revolutionary War style pup tent that the troops would have encamped in, and bring some colonial toys and do a show and tell presentation. It's for kids, but I've learned a lot, listening to it and watching it. Then at 1 at Lake Mohegan Park, they kick off their festivities there with a march into the beach with bagpipe and drums. You're familiar with that, Ed, from their St. Patrick's Day parade.
Pretty good bagpiper, too.
Yes. And 4 at Amazon Beach is the Wildlife Encounter with Rick Lee, otherwise known as Ranger Rick, which is always fun. But I'm partial to the closing events, which include Chinese floating lanterns on the lake at the Mohegan Colony Beach, performance of the Clearwater Walkabout chorus, square and contra dance. You don't need any experience. It's for all age levels, and we have a kids poster contest so that anybody can enter. But they have to come at 7 o'clock and bring their poster. And some kids used the art club at the library had kids doing posters for that contest. So we appreciated the library's inclusion of that. Anyway, there's many other things that I haven't mentioned, but I'm looking forward to this
Keep the
Saturday.
suspense.
Thank you.
I don't see jarts on here.
Thank
I
you.
wish you good weather.
Yes.
And Ken, you spoke the other day. You told me that the condition of the lake was good this year. Has it continued that way? Give us an update on that, on the algae issue.
This is real wood, right? The lake has been beautiful for almost the entire month of June, and it still is. And I'm hoping it still is on Lake Day. I don't have an explanation for it, but the water quality has been much better than usual.
Well, the algae went down to Washington.
Wishful.
Good evening, Jan Merchandani. I wasn't actually going to say anything, but you guys had a lot of good stuff on the agenda tonight. So, Lanny, I want to thank you for your words about the memorial. I thought that was very appropriate and heartfelt, so I appreciate that. There's a theme tonight with the e-bikes and transportation and bikes. As you all know, I'm an avid cyclist myself. I would like to maybe tone down the rhetoric about banning and blah, blah, blah. I think we definitely need to regulate. I think we need to also educate. It doesn't need to be an either-or situation. We spend a lot of money on a PR company. I would love to see maybe some of that money go towards some PSAs. There's a responsibility both on behalf, on the side of the drivers to be mindful of cyclists with a 3-foot rule. Cyclists are, we're taxpayers as well. We have a right to be on the roads. So I think, having, listen, those of us who've been driving for more than a little bit, sometimes you forget some of the regulations and, maybe we bring those back to front of mind about, being courteous of cyclists. Also, the difference between the e-bikes and the ATVs. I think we could, put out a really nice communications campaign, educate drivers and the cyclists, because I know, not everybody's a a courteous cyclist, and as well as regulating. They need to go hand in hand, and not just sort of take a punitive approach. So that's my 2 cents on the e-bikes and the traffic. Also, I wanted just to point out the Hoot board. For those of you who may not know, the Hudson Valley Gateway Chamber actually they just put up a Hoot board, so you could certainly reach out to Carol Voicey over there to get some feedback on the implementation of that. We actually had a cycling event recently. We were having some drinks over at, non-alcoholic drinks, over at Trailside Cafe, and as we were sitting there and somebody was asking about the ticket booth over there, do we use it for anything? And I said, well, we just refurbished it, but it's not actually in use. And, maybe as a second phase, I don't imagine that it would necessarily fit into an initial phase of the Hoot board, but that might be a great opportunity to, use something like this technology so that we can bring some of the cyclists off of the trail into the community, have them visit our local businesses, some of the historic sites in town. A lot of those cyclists are through cyclists. They're coming up from the city. They're coming down from, wherever. So, it would be a great opportunity for us to sort of elevate some of the stuff going on here in town. So just some thoughts I thought I'd share. Thank you.
Anyone else for courtesy of the floor?
I'm sorry to be annoying, but all this traffic talk made me think of something. She doesn't know that I'm going to...
Introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Maria Ivazek. I wanted to mention something on behalf of my friend Rosanna. I am here tonight to raise a concern about safety and accessibility at Brookside Elementary School, specifically regarding the current parking and traffic situation. I want to start by saying that my children no longer attend Brookside, so this issue will not directly impact my family in the way that it once did. However, I am here because I believe this is an important community issue, and because the safety and accessibility of our schools should matter, especially when it comes to our children. The parking and traffic situation at Brookside during arrival and dismissal has long been a challenge. The congestion, limited parking, and movement of vehicles around young children create an environment that can feel unsafe. While this affects all students and families, it is particularly concerning for our students with special needs who may require additional time, assistance, or accommodations when entering and exiting vehicles. Families of children with mobility challenges, sensory needs, or other disabilities should not have to navigate a stressful and crowded environment just to safely get their children into and out of school. I also think it is important to look ahead. As we know, Yorktown continues to grow, and as additions and improvements are made to Brookside, we need to consider whether the current parking and traffic setup can adequately support the future needs of the school and the community. When you look at the other schools in Yorktown Central School District, such as the high school, the middle school, and Mohansick, it's kind of like a campus. You drive into it and you have parking, whereas Brookside, it doesn't have that. I don't know what the solution is, but I thought I might mention it. Also wanted to say, I think we can all agree to disagree sometimes, and we don't have to get all, emotional. And we can all just get along and all that other stuff without raising our voice when it comes to certain things. Okay, bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Anyone else?
Yeah.
Good evening, Monica Cole. Nice to see you all again. I just wanted to come up this evening and thank you for proposing the local law for a moratorium regarding the wireless telecommunication facilities. I'm not sure how we're going to go about doing that, and if there's going to be some kind of committee to be formed, if we'll be informed, and maybe we can participate in some way and help you. I'm also, when I did the research for the cell towers, I saw that there were local committees that were proposed in other towns where they hired lawyers to come in and help them and advise them also with what's being done in other communities throughout the country. So that's all. Thank you very much, and have a good evening.
Thank you, Monica. Anthony, you coming up?
Hi, my name is Anthony Pichette, and I feel a little remiss to not talk about all the traffic and e-bike stuff that everyone's talking about. I don't know how it came together, but I agree. Brookside, on Broad Street, I would encourage to look into maybe a sidewalk along that road, or maybe a bike path or something, so people can walk a little further down. I know I intend to bike there at some point with my little one, but that's my own thing. But I also I wanted to talk about this before, and there's some Park and Rec people here too, so maybe they talk about it too. But about the pool fees for families, I know since 2022. It was slightly under $300 for a family, right? And I think right now it's around $600. So in a matter of 4 years, it's nearly doubled. I'm wondering if there could be some discussion about easing that a little bit, or working on that fee going forward, because obviously that keeps going up. That's going to be pretty unattainable for many people. And pools, I know a lot of people have pools in their backyards, and all this stuff, but community pool is where people get together and hang out, and any way we can increase that for any family, I think would be advantageous. So, all right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, anyone else?
Good evening, John Campobasso, 405 Courting. Just e-bikes. Maybe they could have to be registered. Kind of like a dog. You have a dog, you have to get registered with the town. Maybe under 16, there's a registration. And when they come in, you point out to the parents, their kids could be killed in traffic when they're riding in between cars. I don't think this is an adult issue necessarily, but I watched 2 kids today 10 times try and go faster down a road and pass each other. So it is a major problem. It's something that, we've been pretty passionate about with the ATVs and everything else. But maybe it's a registration, so you could kind of give them a warning if, they're riding like idiots, that they can get killed in traffic. As far as the Sheridan Gorman thing, everything was said today. Sergio, unbelievable. Really, it was heartfelt, and all of you. But I have spoken to the family several times. What the entire town board has done has been really admirable. So kudos to all of you. So thank you for everything you do.
Thanks, John. Anyone else? All right, motion to close courtesy of the floor.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, I'll hit some of the things through and then see if anyone else has any other comments. I'm going to start down at the bottom with the e-bikes. As I said before with Susan, we are looking into some of the different laws. I've asked Officer Uhl to do this, as he's been very in tune with it, being traffic safety. Registering them doesn't make a difference unless we could tag them some way. So it's a pretty complex system, but you said something where it's not an adult issue, and I totally disagree, because if my kid's out there, I want to know what's happening. I'm going to teach them. We have spoken about, and we're looking into public service announcements. We're looking into educational classes, either through the town, through Parks and Rec, which, I want to see looking to see if anyone else is doing that. But I think it would actually behoove the schools to have, like they used to have driver education, have a bicycle education type of class. So I have a phone meeting with Dr. Hatter actually tomorrow morning, and it's one of the things up for discussion. The pool fees, unfortunately over the last 4 years, our labor costs have gone up with the increases to minimum wage. We don't have to pay minimum wage, but when we don't pay minimum wage, we don't get people to work. The town is exempted. They could go by the federal minimum wage, which does not work in our market. Also, supplies like the chlorine and all the things we use in the pool, the prices have tripled and quadrupled since COVID. So we're dealing with that, and unfortunately, the pool has always been something that the fees are offset by the by the park pass or the pool pass, and it's not something that we can eliminate because we won't be able to afford to keep all of Parks and Recreation running if they're spending all their money on chlorine and lifeguards. There were a couple things about Brookside. Maria, actually, I've spoken to Ro many times. She used to work for me back in the day, and she's been very on top of it. Actually, she's scheduled next week for an interview with our Accessibilities Committee. So with that, we have, well, I won't say little. We have zero pull when it comes to what the schools do with their setup and their lots and all of that. Matter of fact, we had a discussion today with an issue that was at the high school with an ongoing construction project. They don't even need to come to us for inspections or anything. It's all done through the state. So we're sort of handcuffed. I think that the passion of that speech would be much better suited for a school board meeting, but it is something that needs to be looked at. We do have a car out in front of the school during drop-off and pickup, our SRO. It's used to try to calm traffic, which it does. Yes, he's earning his money, absolutely. And, but that's something we have at all of our schools. We have the SROs there. Lakeland, Copper Beach is another one that's a nightmare as they're coming in and going out. But
Dr. Hatter is aware of it, and he has made significant changes. I know it's challenging there, and I will tell you, when my kids went to Brookside, you used to be able to pull into the back of the school, drop them off, and you could actually spin around without making a U-turn. That's since been blocked off. You used to be able to pull all the way up and go to Brookside Field 3, which is the first baseball field there, and just unload your stuff, and, so maybe that's something that they could reconsider. I'm sorry.
That's okay. When my daughter went there 35 years ago, it was a different traffic situation.
Yeah, well.
And my wife went there also, so it was a much different traffic situation then. I won't say how many years ago. But that being said, Sergio's right. We have had conversations with Dr. Hatter. He has made some adjustments to the amount of space for handicap parking, for those drop-offs, and current theme where it's parents who really don't care about the e-bike situation. And unfortunately, it's parents that are dropping off that don't care about the other kids. They don't. So, and I think we might hear a little bit about that as we go on through some things. Monica, we'll definitely search for the best way to do the law. One of the avenues we use is the public hearing. We have a draft done. We send it out for referral, and then we have comments on it. But I will see what others have done around us and see what works best. We would need legal counsel anyway, which would be involved just because of the fact that we step on some federal laws as well with the telecommunications. So lawyers will definitely be a part of that. Jan, I don't think anyone wants to. Well, I don't think I want to ban e-bikes. I own one myself. Not that I use it. It was my brother's. I bought it for him years back because he was physically handicapped, and they're very useful. We need to find the solution, but I know you mentioned a couple of things that we're looking at already. Another thing, the board, the Hoot board, that's why we're looking at the outside one for Railroad Park, because it is sort of another central hub, very similar to Downing as being the center of the town. Railroad Park is really that center of our commercial district where people come through on bikes, in the parks, to see the statue, residentially and commercially. So that's all being looked at. And I don't want to take away from what John did. That was actually not a refurbishment. They actually restored that train station. It's a national landmark. Not an easy process. It took us years. There was matching up all the different things there. So, and John Tegeter, and actually back in the Michael Grace days, that's when that came to be, and they really put a lot of work into that. Lonnie, when did we finish that? Was that?
It was while I was the supervisor, and there was a lot of grant money involved in that aspect as well.
Yeah, but it was definitely not just a refurbishment. So. Okay, well, the foliage at Gomer and Curry, I'm not sure about, but I'll look through as I go there. Regardless of what the calls are, if the trees are on firmly on public land or anywhere near telephone poles, our people can't go near them. But I know I had sent a request into Highway from someone who asked for trimming at the bottom of Summit and Underhill, and they did a great job trimming it. But here we are 2 months later, you can't see anymore. So the foliage grows. It's one of the issues with having trees. They're beautiful, but they could take out your power and they could obstruct your view. But we'll look into that. And Sarah, I know I don't recall many deaths of pedestrians. I know we've had a couple of bike. You think there were 5? All right. I'd love to see where your research and look into that. And
Oh, there was one on 132.
Yes. Yep. At like 5 in the morning. Yep. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate though that once again, people don't take that responsibility of driving. You get behind something that weighs 2 tons and you just drive it like it's a big wheel. And it's absolutely crazy. My wife saw, was all upset. We do dinner before the meeting, and as we were coming through town, someone whipped around off of Veterans Road in a big pickup truck, and they didn't slow at all, and it was scary. They came pretty close to the car. Let's see, Jay, the handicap hangers. I'm wondering, Diana, can we put something on the back? Or do they come in for us?
These come from New York State DOT. It's not something we can.
Can we make a sticker, though, should be taken in?
We do a whole routine and we go over all of the rules for it beforehand.
All right. Just a thought of a sticker on the back. And more of the, okay. And then more of the e-bike laws. The 5-ton weight limit, Karen, I know I'd spoken to Dave, so let me see what happened. I don't know if he ran into a stall in Somers. But I'll follow up on that tomorrow. And for Lavoie and Baldwin, there are issues with speed bumps and with stop signs. There's some legalities on where you could put them and for reasons why. But I will definitely talk to Dave about that. And once again, it comes down to people that just don't give a crap. And I hate to say it, but... Yeah, and I watched 2 people go through the stop sign in the center of town today by the firehouse. So it's not even that. Once again, there are people that just are out there that don't care. And, we're covering 40 square miles of town with a police force in the 60s. It's very difficult for them to be there, but they do get out there. They do some searches, and maybe we could even get one of the speed monitors on that road for a little bit, because those do tend to help. But we'll see what we could do, and I know I've had some conversations with Chief Foley. I'm still calling him Captain, but Chief Foley and I are very much on the same page on trying to make sure that we are trying to curtail as much of the speeding and running stop signs and just irresponsible driving as we can. All right, anyone?
Dan, unfortunately, what I was about to say before, both Baldwin Road and other potential, quote, cut-throughs are going to be a problem. Baldwin, I think, is going to become even heavier traffic because of potential backups on Underhill. We don't know yet, but hopefully that won't be the case. But We know that there are roads that are used as cut-throughs, and Granite Springs is one of them as well. One suggestion I might have, and we might want to look into, is when you talk about the 5-ton limit with the trucks. When I was originally when I was the town judge, and it was only in the very beginning, the police enforced excess weight on trucks coming through the town.
Tim Taus was a big
Yes,
on
he
that.
was. He was very big on it. And after he retired, it basically disappeared. The enforcement of those, it disappeared. I'd like to speak with, and I think we should have a discussion with Chief Foley about the possibility of enforcement of that. Not only for public, I mean, obviously the number one reason is public safety, but the second is the aging infrastructure in the town. The excess weight has effect on our roadways. So I think it's something to investigate. As to the e-bikes, you know what, we haven't even discussed it, but it's the e-scooters that are very scary too. I drive down 132 and I see little kids on scooters, electric scooters, and I get white knuckled sometimes as I pass them. And I think that Ed, I think you're right. I think it's and Jan, I would also add that it's the responsibility of drivers, it's the responsibility of the cyclists, but it's the responsibility of the parents. The parents need to be brought into this discussion. And somehow, if you add responsibility to the parent, I think you might at least eliminate some of the dangers with the 14-year-olds who are on these electric scooters and electric bikes. So there's a lot to be discussed, and I hope and I encourage a complete discussion on that.
Let's pick up on the e-bikes. I'm glad to see that my comments generated more interest, because I think everyone agrees that we have to do something, and it's a combination of both education and regulation. And then if we have regulations, then it means enforcement, because without enforcement, nothing happens. I just happen to have printed off something from the DMV website, which has a separate category for electric scooters and bicycles with electric assist. And they have clear definitions for this. So we have those guidelines. And again, once we have a regulation, then we can enforce it. And then we can have the fines, whatever, and then we can hold parents responsible for kids underage. So we have to do this on both tracks. It's not rocket science to find out to craft a law. All right, I tell you that as a former supervisor and as a council person who has been involved in multiple types of legislation. It's not rocket science. There are websites where you can find out what dozens of other municipalities in New York State have done, because we don't want to deal with something from an out-of-state issue. You take the laws that they have, you look at them, you cut, you paste, you customize to your town, okay? And this can be done, and it can be done in a relatively short time. This does not take months and months and months, all right? And I will say this both for e-bikes, and I'll say it again when we deal with the cell tower law, all right? We can do this within our 6-month moratorium that we're talking about, because there are any number of sample laws out there. And again, it's what the community wants. And before we get, and let me combine this with the comments from, I think it was Monica on the cell tower. Yes, we have a public hearing, and people can give their input at that time. My suggestion is going to be, and this is for e-bikes as well as for the cell tower, that we get once the community knows that we are contemplating legislation in those areas, we have an opportunity for public input. What would you like to see in the law? And then the town board weighs all of that input and then goes to the drafting and then says, okay, now I'm going to draft a law. Of the 20 suggestions, I will take 10 of them, and these 10, and I will put them in the law, and then I will come to a public hearing. The other way, we draft it without knowing what the public thinks, and then we get all the comments, and then we have to go change the law, all right? So I would like both for e-bikes and for the cell tower to get the public input early on, and then we get this taken care of.
Susan, let me just, what do you want us to do? Do you want us to just plug it into the program you were talking about? Or do you want us to go out and get the public? Because you just gave me two different solutions.
No, what I'm saying is, if we tell the community, I was going to make this comment for the cell tower, but it really applies to e-bikes, because I think there's a concern, and I think the town board shares a concern, that we have to do something.
Absolutely, but you just said that it shouldn't take any time to do a law. But now...
No, what I'm saying is, if we have an opportunity, whether it's a 3-minute public comment, or we have some time set aside on some meeting, let's do cell towers first, because that's what we're doing, and we're going to enact a moratorium on that. So we have 6 months to act, and I think we can do it within 6 months. It doesn't have to go what happened with the solar law, where we have to have 2 moratoriums for over a year, and even after the second moratorium lasted, we went months and months and months, and we went through multiple versions. What I'm saying is, and I'll use the cell tower law as an example, at some upcoming meeting, if it's not next meeting, the 3rd meeting in July, or the 1st meeting in August, we set aside some time for public input. What would you like to see about the cell tower? Because many of the people who have spoken have already come up, and they have researched other laws, and they have ideas. I'm not saying whether I'm going to accept those ideas, but they have ideas. Let's hear from them. Let the town board then sit and weigh those ideas, and then say, these of the 20 suggestions, we like these 10, and then give it to the town staff person who's going to draft the law.
But we received a number of emails with a lot of the ideas today. You know, I mean, that we could utilize, but we're not talking about the law, we're talking about the moratorium, but there were a lot of ideas. So there is public input, and anybody can always send us, information or what they'd like to see. I get what you're saying, but, having some time aside, we could utilize that as well. But a lot of people can't come at 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night, and sit here and listen to us. And they have kids, they gotta cook dinner, they gotta do all sorts of stuff. They gotta get the kids ready for tomorrow for school so they can deal with the traffic at Brookside. So you got a whole bunch of things, that I get what you're saying, and it's a lovely concept. But we utilize people's comments and input all the time. So, there is something that we can do publicly.
I am concerned, like you said, because we're almost 10 o'clock, and we...
All right, well, let me just say, yes, give your input, so we don't have to have it at a meeting. We can give us input. But before, whoever is in the town, whether probably the town attorney or possibly the planning department, will draft the cell tower law. What I'm saying is, there should be an open discussion then among us 5, okay?
Of course. Or we could even see about putting a committee together, as Karen wanted to, and let them take a look at it.
No, that just slows things down, I think.
But is the input, you want the input or you don't?
No, I want the input,
Right,
but
okay.
I want it. Let's get the input,
right,
and
let
then
her
the
finish.
town.
Understood that you need one input. We got it.
And the
We
town
understand.
board should make a decision
I got
as to what it would like to see, so then the attorney or the planning department, whoever writes the law, knows what the town board wants. I have
We
to.
understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we move?
Let-
Yeah.
let-
We got
let-
that.
I
We
just want to move on.
completely understand on that.
The issue on the traffic issue and on the 5-ton limit, I'm very mindful of having heard people complain about Halleck's Mill Road for eons and eons of time, which has a 5-ton limit, and it's not enforced, okay? And it's almost ironic that about 2 weeks ago, I met somebody who used to be with the Putnam County Sheriff's Department, and he remembered that when I was supervisor in 2010, I dealt with him to try to control truck traffic and speeding on Wood Street, which comes down from Putt Valley onto East Main Street, all right? And Yorktown wanted some kind of control about either speed or truck traffic, I don't remember.
Weight limit.
We got no cooperation from Putt Valley. And I had forgotten about this until just by accident I met this person, all right? Here we're dealing with Somers, and I don't know if Dave has dealt with Somers, because what happens when you hit Quaker Church Road? the truck has to come. And the truck traffic is probably going through Somers into Yorktown. I'm not saying nothing can be done. I'm just saying that that's a problem when you have to deal with two municipalities. And I don't know what Somers is. I just remembered my experience with Putt Valley. And then the issue of enforcement, which Lanny talked about, and that has to go hand in hand if we have the regulation. Jan, I just want just an additional comment and an update on what you said about the railroad station. Yes, we did have a grant, and we totally renovated and refurbished that. Unfortunately, because the town tried to control the costs of its match, we didn't put enough water facilities like restrooms into that building. So the building has no use. The town has done over the years 2 RFPs for potential users. So we can use this wonderful building that's a national landmark, and is becoming a good focal point for Yorktown, and it stands empty and unfortunately is subject to vandalism. And that's because we were short-sighted many years ago and didn't put enough money in, so we have no uses for it. And in terms of promoting the town, many years ago, the Yorktown Trailtown Committee put up 2 very large signs, one by the highway garage on the trail and one by the right by the railroad station building, which had a map and showed what in Yorktown Heights you could get to. Unfortunately, there have been changes over the years. It's been many years since that sign went up, but it still points to get off the trail and go to these different places, whether you need a restroom or you just want ice cream or you want a sit-down restaurant or you have to get to the drugstore because you have a blister on your foot or something like that. So we do have that, and those are all the things I wanted to say. Thank you.
All right.
Go ahead.
I'm going to go
Go ahead.
quick. I'll make it quick, but look at where Brookside was. My kids went there. It's exponentially better than what it is now, and I know there's a problem now. When I went there, I used to go there, and if you went to a meeting, the whole front was full. I drove by the other day, and there was parking spots, which is, I don't drive by it a lot, but I feel your pain because I grew up when it was bad. It was double parked out front on 3 or 4 spots down. But Lanny, I couldn't agree more with you with the e-bikes. It all comes down to enforcement. You could talk. It starts with the parents, and it all comes down to enforcement. So yes, we have to look at the e-bike law, put it together, and we have to focus on the enforcement of the law and how to do it. But go ahead, Serge.
So I will tell you that the Yorktown Police Department is out there every day doing enforcement. But please just keep in mind, you can't be everywhere at once. And if you want a cop on every corner, if you want that kind of a look for our town, we could try to do that. But I don't think anybody's going to like it. So you can make all the laws you want. You can make all the rules you want. But, there's always going to be a scofflaw. There's always going to be somebody that's not going to follow the rules. And you can't have, a police officer on every block. I mean, it's just not possible. So there is enforcement, but, again, it's 40 miles, and unless you want, Gestapo-looking stuff, we're going to make the laws, we're going to make the rules, we're going to hope that the law-abiding people are going to follow them. And so I get the legislation. We have to do it. One thing I'd like to see with the e-bikes is a speed limit. Because if you're on an e-bike and you're going 5 miles an hour, no harm, no foul. I don't think so. You're gonna have a child that does crazy stuff. I used to do crazy stuff on my bike, when I was a kid too. Believe me. I mean, I think we all did. We did some dumb things. I mean, and kids are kids. But at 30 miles an hour, that dumb thing becomes exponentially more hazardous to other people as well as the child himself. So there's got to be something there is something that we could do. But again, don't expect us to pass legislation and then magically all the e-bike problems are going to go away, because that's going to require, a cop on every block, and that's just not going to happen and not possible. As far as the Brookside thing, Maria, like I said, you used to be able to pull up into the back and spin around. It took everybody off the street. There was nobody double parked on Brookside, and you could get around like that. That has since stopped. Maybe that is what has exacerbated the issues that they're having there. But I will tell you, Dr. Hatter, we put enforcement there. So this way people wouldn't park on the grass right before to get into the entrance, because that was an issue. So they have done a lot, and I just wanna make sure that we understand that the school has responded in a very, very pronounced way. But the problem is that we got kids in the school, and some people don't listen, and you can't have a cop there 24/7 either, right? So I think that's where we're at. But I'm all for the e-bike law. Like I said, we went over this. I don't remember exactly how far we got into it, but it got into the weeds because you have people that love e-bikes, you have people that hate them, you have people that are in the middle, and there's a lot of opinions. As far as you guys reaching out to us and giving us advice and suggestions, we're always available. And the way we work a lot is if one of you guys emails the entire town board, and one of us replies to all, right? We usually reply. One reply is enough, because you're going to get bombarded with the same comments. So sometimes, just because we didn't respond to you directly, I look at an email and Ed will reply to all, and he'll say something that I was going to say anyway. I'm not going to reply to all again, and that's not because I'm not responding. It's because I think you received a response that I agree with. So that's really where it gets sometimes it'll seem like some of us aren't responding to you, but that's really not the case. We try to work together as much as we can and in unison. So I appreciate it. I'm going to shut up.
Thank you.
We have a public hearing coming up.
Can I just ask? I want to ask a question dealing with traffic and speeding. And I know you're all law-abiding drivers, and you always just go the speed limit. But I know that when I go down Quinlan Street, there's
I didn't say that.
No, not in your youth, but now. All right. When I go down Quinlan Street, there's a little thing that tells me what my speed is, and I've noticed there's one on 202 by the police station, which I pass by at night when I'm going home. And while I try to do the speed limit, sometimes you just go a little, your foot's down on the pedal, and say, whoops, I better watch it because I didn't notice what I was doing. I'd like to know if you have had experience with any of those signs, and does it make a difference to you?
There's one on Hanover I pass every day. Usually if I don't come up at 29 or 30, which is the limit there, it's like 31. And it does make a difference. It keeps it in your mind. And, but that's me. It's individualism. I could see Anthony there. He's got a lead foot. He's like, I don't care.
Not Anthony.
I'm on my e-bike.
I know you are. Driving 40 in a 30. No.
So those things are a response. When you see those things pop up randomly, that's a response from our police department, because they've received complaints.
Right.
And those things, they don't have cameras in them. They don't watch your license plate, but they collect data. And the data, and then what they do is they download the data, and it shows, on this block, like we had somebody complain about a certain road, and they were like, oh, they're doing 60. Well, they put one of those things out there for 3-4 days, and the average speed was about 38, which in a 30 is fast, but it wasn't 60. Right. So, but that's, and those things really make a difference, because when you come around, sometimes you're not speeding because you're like this evil person and you got a lead foot. Sometimes you're just not paying attention to to the number on your dashboard.
And actually, we actually just put one on. We put one on Underhill too.
Well, that's why I'm just wondering whether if more of those, because I don't imagine they're too expensive.
They are expensive. I think Pete gave us a grant, and they're like 50, 60 a pop.
Yeah.
50, 60 grand a pop.
Then
all right,
move
so
them around.
let's move on with our public hearing. And where are we here? Okay, we're going to open public hearing regarding a proposed local law for moratorium regarding wireless telecommunication facilities. And as I did put out there before, we are in favor of this. So if you are in favor too, you don't need to tell us. But I am curious if there's anyone here opposed to it. Don't rush up and knock the mic over. I do know we did get a couple letters. We did get one from Homeland Towers saying that they did not believe in the legality of this. We have Conservation Board with no comment. We have County Planning Board. They've reviewed it. We note the moratorium should be enacted with specific intent and purpose and should not exceed beyond a reasonable period. Please inform us of the town board's decision that they're fine with everything. Planning board has no objections at this time. And then we have the letters, the letter that came in today from quite a few of you, all saying that you are for the moratorium. So I know that we have a public that's in favor of it.
I'm prepared to vote.
Okay, does anyone want to say anything, or Jay,
Jay,
please get up. Yep.
You can open a public hearing?
I did.
Jay Copstein, I would just ask one thing. I'm in favor of it. Can we get something from the town attorney on what we can legislate on and what we can't legislate on, so that we can get comments on what we can legislate on? Thank you.
George?
I don't understand what that means.
So he's worried about stepping on federal and state regulations
There are
first.
federal law and regulation. But, for example, safety is the authorization, the authority, and the responsibility of the town board. So, for example, right now, if you have a tower going up and there are 3 carriers on that tower, you're going to get 3 generators all putting out particulate emissions. You're going to have 3 fuel sources. That's pollution. That's the responsibility of the town board. The town board can turn around and mandate that the tower operator, for example, is required to put in 1 generator to cover all the carriers, 1 fuel source that reduces the risk of pollution to the ground, to the water, and to the air in an emergency. The town can also mandate the amount of time that backup generation or backup power support must be present on the tower if you have a power outage, like we just had. Thank you.
Right, thank you.
Thank you. But, I don't think we're allowed to take RF waves into consideration according to the federal law, so there's some things like that. Sure.
Julie McNamara.
Julie, why don't you pull that? There you
Thanks.
go.
I just had a question about Homeland, their comments on the moratorium. Like, do you guys know why they feel like it's necessary to
Because
ask
it's their
about,
business.
And do you guys take their comments into consideration?
We take everybody's comments into
But
consideration.
if they're, I just don't understand why Homeland has any say on what Yorktown does, right?
So they don't look. Everyone has the ability to comment for the
Okay.
public. We don't discriminate whether you're bringing something before us, whether you're against something, whether you're for something that someone else brought before us. Everyone has a vote. It's a First Amendment right, or has a voice. I'm sorry. It's a First Amendment right, and they have that right in town government. We're open. We're transparent, and we also need to keep our mind open. One of the other issues, if you do not listen to people, and I've said this before because there have been things that have come before us that we were like, had to run it down the road, whether we were for or against. But if we don't, and we don't listen and we don't take that into account, we open the door for a lawsuit. And the worst lawsuit I could think of isn't monetary. If you're against something, it's specific performance. So if we shut down everyone, they could probably go to a court and probably win an injunction against us.
Honestly, Julie, like, our job is to listen to
No.
the people. Listen
Yes.
to the developer/business, to listen to our local boards, whether it's planning, zoning, ABACA, trees. Our job is just to listen.
Okay.
And then weigh it
we
all.
swallow the information, and then we make a decision.
Okay. I guess, so you can't add, with the moratorium in place, do you know if there's any way they can still come back and build?
Well,
Are there
our idea is to rewrite the law during this moratorium. That's our specific, as Westchester County wanted. That's our goal. So I know, from listening before, there are two major issues that I feel we need to address, which is the distance from the homes and the invasion on wetlands, and especially the classification of those wetlands. So I think those, to me, and I can't speak for the rest of the board, are probably the two most important issues that we'll have to face. Now, some of them, as we were just asked about, seeing what the attorney could tell us we can or can't rule on, some of those we might be precluded from. I don't think so. But there are things that we cannot take into account according to federal law.
Okay.
So,
But these are questions that we're gonna discuss when we're actually looking at the law. Today, we're discussing solely the moratorium, which,
Right. Do we want to say you
do we
can't do
wanna
it for 6
stop
months?
it right now?
Yes.
So this way, even if they did come tomorrow, Homeland, according to what you were saying, can they do anything? Not while the moratorium is in place. That's
Okay.
why personally, I don't think we even need the moratorium, but I'm all for it. Let's do it anyway, just as an extra, belts and suspenders, right? Because
absolutely.
we're not looking to approve anything until we rewrite the law anyway, right?
Okay.
So, but belts and suspenders, let's get this
Well,
moratorium.
I don't want, if we have the moratorium, though, they can't put it into the system.
Okay.
And that's really what the importance of the moratorium is.
Okay.
Because once it comes in the system, then the questions come up about grandfathering, about, hey, I already started this project, now you're moving the field goal on us.
Right.
So those are important.
That's not, okay.
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 Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you. No problem. Any other comments? All right, motion to close the public hearing.
I will make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, and then,
That was the quickest public hearing.
maybe. And then motion to,
I will make
to-
that motion.
Okay. Motion to authorize a local law, a proposed local law for a moratorium regarding wireless
Only the things
telecommunications.
I
Second.
agree with.
Okay, we got
Aye.
it.
Aye.
There we go.
Question, do we need to seek a unlisted determination?
No secret.
Not this, okay.
All right. Resolutions.
Before
Don't
we go to-
leave me for the exciting stuff.
Before we go to the Before we go to the resolutions,
And Karen, I'm sorry, just remember, as they said, you can email us. I did email. I'm teasing you. I know you can. Take care. I had to put an extra gig of memory on my computer just for your email. Yes.
Lonnie had a comment.
before
Yes.
we go to the resolutions, I feel remiss having we had a fairly decent break in terms of days where we last sat, and since then, I wanted to mention the passing of Joe Visconti.
Yeah.
Joe was an important member of our community, former president of the Chamber of Commerce, and a candidate for town council, I believe, over the years.
Yes.
And just an overall pillar of the community. And I just wanted to commemorate his passing.
Thank you, and at that point, I will, and I didn't mention on purpose before, but, you know, I will thank everyone who attended my mother-in-law's wake as she passed since that last meeting when I had asked for prayers. A lot of people came to show their support, and Carol and myself and my daughter Kerry, her husband Brian, and my brother-in-laws all appreciated it very much. And you know, she lived in Yorktown for 68 years, basically. And I ran into someone today who was talking about when she used to be part of Welcome Wagon. And I didn't even know he...
That was a long time ago.
And I didn't even know he knew her. And yeah, he was talking about Welcome Wagon, and he was talking... my father-in-law was very involved in the Elks, and... yeah, and they did a lot in the community back then, so...
I haven't heard that.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that name in like 100 years.
We
So,
got
I thank
we got
all of you that
packages
came.
welcoming us with all kinds of brochures about what was available in the town. I got one in 1970 when I came here, and it's a lot of people who remember that are sad that nothing like that exists at this point in time. So,
Yep.
if anyone wants to volunteer and create an organization, that's it.
So, yeah, and Joe, like you said, a pillar of the community, and his brother-in-law, Pat Spirelli Electric. You know, it was very hard. Roxanne is a wonderful human being, so it's a great loss for them. And you know, I spent a lot of time talking with Roxanne at the wake, and then again with Pat and a lot of the guys from my old neighborhoods in Yonkers. So
I
it
had just
was-
talked to him too.
Yeah, he was.
I used to talk to him all the time. Great guy.
Yep. All right. Resolutions. From the Building Department, authorize a refund for building permit 2026-0392 for an overpayment in the amount of $200 for 1766 Baldwin Road. From the Central Garage, authorize Central Garage to scrap the below-listed obsolete vehicle no longer needed for public use at Brookfield Resource Management, and that's a 2006 Ford EC1 van.
Oh my God.
Got our money out of that, huh? From the Highway Department, authorized change order number 3 for the addition to the highway garage bid in the amount of $26,533.72. Due to discovery of following items, which I believe had to do with the oil tank removal that was there. And then further resolved that with the comptroller is authorized to process the following budget transfers listed. And then authorize the following bids to be advertised for the Highway Department: bid for pavement markings and the bid for street and traffic signs. Award the bid for asphaltic concrete laid in place for the Highway Department. And the resolved that upon the recommendation of the Highway Superintendent Dave Paganelli, the bid for the asphalt concrete laid in place for the town of Yorktown is hereby awarded to Clove Excavators, Inc., 212 Van Wagner Road, Poughkeepsie, and that is basically at $125.70 per ton. And the millings is hereby awarded to Intercounty Paving for up in Carmel for the best value per square foot, as broken down and enumerated in the agenda. From the Northern Westchester Joint Waterworks, authorize the comptroller to refund overpayment of water bill account 205306 in the amount of $7,000. From the Office of the Comptroller, authorize the supervisor to sign an agreement to re-engage Logically for the services of information technology for the town at a total annual cost of $80,906.16. And Sarah, by the way, I did ask Chief, apparently that other company is recommended from Motorola. They work directly with them on flipping these over. And they've been doing all of the ones in Westchester with no issues. Authorize the comptroller to pay Michael Antonucci the cash value of unused time as of the date of his resignation, as enumerated before, and the comptroller is authorized to transfer the funds for the purpose of the payout. Authorize the town controller to close out the following capital project: HP Pump Station Rehab, Walden Woods, Jefferson Valley Pump, and Jefferson Park. Authorize the comptroller to establish a capital project fund for the upgrade of wastewater pump stations and budget transfer as enumerated.
I have a question on this. Dan was here a while ago, but I think he left. Ed, do you know the status of the farm walk design plan that the Department of Health had some comments? Have the
It was resubmitted, and we're waiting for them to
It
get
was
it back to
resubmitted.
us.
What about the three for Halleck's Mill? Have they been the four for
I know
Halleck's
that I know that they are almost ready on one of them. They were tightening some things up, but I'll try to get a.
Yeah, I would appreciate if you would give me an update on that.
From the police department, authorize the supervisor to execute agreement with SKLD GIS Solutions to map out and help license the ESRI software for an initial GIS build
One of
for Motorola Flex software in the amount of $6,400.
back on that pump station thing, the budget transfer is only $100,000 for the farm walk. The rest of the money will come from the Yorktown Sewer District fund balance. I'm assuming it's some future date.
Yes, I know that, yes. This is to get started on a few
Yeah,
things.
get started.
Pulling some of the tanks out,
Yep.
doing some of the demo work. Authorize the supervisor to sign the final agreement with Motorola Solutions in the amount of $909,606 to purchase a Motorola Flex RMS CAD system from Motorola Solutions for the police department, and to transfer the money out of the capital fund, authorize the supervisor to sign stormwater control facilities maintenance agreement with Richard McHale, the owner of 401 Main Street LLC. From the office of the town clerk, public hearing date change to July 14th, 2026 for the establishment of Water District Extension Number 1. Public hearing date change to July 14th, 2026 for a proposed local law to amend Chapter 300 of the Code of Yorktown entitled Zoning regarding Commercial Regional Center Special District, that is to add the entertainment facet to the mall. Authorize the town clerk to refer out stormwater excavation permit for the parking lot project at Tom Diana Park at Granite Knolls Recreation and Sports Complex.
Can you update everybody on the bids that came in for the paving of the Granite Knolls parking lot? And when is the town board going to go over that?
I don't have the information in front of me, but I know that Parks wanted to talk to me regarding it because they're thinking that this stormwater excavation permit and what we're looking to do there, if approved, will actually save money, so they might want to rebid it. Because people were thinking they had to take stuff off-site, and that might not necessarily be true. So our bids,
There was also
our
an
bids
issue
were a
with the
little
rec
higher.
commission between whether we needed pervious or impervious paving.
No,
And somebody was gonna check with Joe Reed on
I
what
think it
issue.
has to be
I think it
impervious.
has to be, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's impervious.
Because the
I mean,
bids did, the bids came in.
Pervious, I'm sorry, pervious, yes.
The bids came in at $109,000, which is higher than I think was what we had considered.
109.
109,000 was the.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, what did I say?
800. Yeah, I was gonna say. It was close to $1 million.
Yeah, and I think they were ballparking it at maybe 300,000.
All right, let me finish this so we could get our vote. From the town engineer, approved Tanto Irrigation, Galero Stormwater Management and Erosion and Sediment Control Permit, FSW PPP 047-25 for tax identification, section 4807, block 2, lots 11, 13, 15, and 17. This is down on Front Street.
Page 10. Page 10.
Okay. Dan loves giving long.
Busy writing.
Yeah. Authorize the comptroller to release erosion control bond for wetland and stormwater permit WP/BSW PPP 064-23 in the amount of $500 to Hill and Bell Associates Engineers LLC. Authorize the comptroller to release the erosion control bond for wetland and stormwater permit BSW PPP 01525 in the amount of $500 to Lydia Sliva. Stop yawning because I had.
We're blaming you.
Don't blame me.
I'll make you read the whole resolution.
Because I over the storm days I think I had 4 hours of sleep total.
Let's go, Ed.
Okay. Authorize the comptroller to release erosion control bond for stormwater permit BSW PPP 00724 in the amount of $500 to Marco Sanzi. Award bid for Justice Court HVAC installation. Bids were received. The lowest bid was located in Brooklyn, cannot satisfy the required maximum 25-mile distance to the facility required in section 37 of the bid document. Accordingly, they are asking the town bid adopt the following resolution. Award the bid. Resolved that the bid for Justice Court HVAC installation be awarded to Mercury Heating and Air Conditioning, Inc. at a total bid price of $109,750. And the reason for the 25-mile radius was the repair time if it went down, feeling that it was something that was very important that the courthouse be able to operate. Not that I ever cared about our judges.
They're
Lonnie.
scarred. They're scarred over there from that.
They are scarred. No.
They're like, can they be around the corner? He's around the corner.
From the Water Department, authorized change order for Engineered Solutions Midwest, Inc., ESM, to perform additional work at the Quinlan booster stations consisting of the installation of 2 variable frequency drives and 2 Endress and Hauser pressure transducers at a cost not to exceed $11,329. That's all she wrote. Okay. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, then we just.
Can I just ask, just as a point of clarification, the old new business was not on the agenda. Was that an oversight, or is that something you're planning for future meetings? Because it adjusts things that I tried to reduce what I had to say in my opening comments.
Susan, nothing got reduced.
Well, because there was no old new business.
Susan,
the e-bikes came up and would have come up under new business.
So whether it's on the agenda or not, if you have something to say at the end, we can bring it up at a meeting.
Well, but if it's not there, I will just add it to my opening comments. I don't know why it was there, whether it was an oversight or intentional. I think it ended up as a good suggestion because it.
Point B, and do you have anything old or new before we adjourn?
She
I think
already
I said
get
it all.
Yes.
Okay, good.
I think I've said it all.
So once again, motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Good night, Yorktown.
Good night, Yorktown. Yes.